Our house chores are making me resent my husband.
Oh, make him do them.
Something has been really bothering me, 32 female with my husband 34 male lately, and I want to get some serious perspective. This is a small issue in an otherwise happy marriage. My husband is awesome, generally considerate, and while we have minor incompatibilities, he's more play it by ear. I like schedules. We usually talk through things without major problems. By the way, this comes from Too Many Chores Throw, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Riley.
And OP says, however, my husband drives me absolutely batty with something that affects us almost daily. Cooking. I've connected this to dishes and general house chores in my head, and it feels like it's gotten way worse lately. He seemed to slowly edge towards this change, then went all in recently. Last Thursday, he got mad because I was tired, still working from home, and didn't want to jump up to wash and cut vegetables. Maybe I was being selfish, but if he wanted that done, he should have told me earlier so I could have handled it before work, not in the middle of my workday.
Well, why are you washing your vegetables? That's where
they're
all the
dirty.
good microbes are.
See, that's what I think about peeling your vegetables.
For 8 years, our arrangement has been simple. My husband cooks, I do dishes. There are occasional exceptions. I cook sometimes and still do the dishes, and he helps with dishes when I'm sick. He often makes a huge mess cooking lunch, using every pot and never trying to conserve dishes, but I usually handle the cleanup anyway. I just prefer not to cook daily after work. Before we met, I'd meal prep for the week or eat easy meals, which worked fine for me. Here's the real problem. As the years have gone on, 2 things have happened. First, he treats me like his sous chef. I wind up running back and forth to the kitchen, chopping and prepping while he wants me to hover there for 10 minutes at a time with nothing to do, which I find infuriating. He won't tell me what he wants to cook so I can prep beforehand when I first get home or in the morning. Honestly, it feels like he just wants my company while he cooks, but he doesn't actually talk to me about non-cooking things. This isn't like our date nights when we cook together. This feels obligatory.
Have you told him?
Yeah,
though?
have we told him this?
Have you told
Maybe
him it infuriates you?
Maybe the solution is like, I've been helping you sous chefing, so now you gotta help me with dishes. Second, he's gotten more stressed about daily cooking and complains to the point where I agree to cook and still do dishes. What makes this worse is he'll say, no, I'll cook, when I first offer around 4:30 or 5, then change his mind much later, by 7 p.m. or later. It's too late for me to start cooking comfortably. If I'm going to cook after work, I want to do it immediately, when I get home while I still have energy. I think whoever cooks should decide the timing, but he wouldn't want to eat that early anyway, which is probably why we have the he cooks arrangement. The scheduling situation means I have to snack when I get home since my lunch is early, 11:30 to noon, because I go in early. I can't control these timings since I also go to bed much earlier than him. The snacking has contributed to some weight gain over our relationship. My husband likes eating together and eating later, but when I get upset about these late cooking nights, he doesn't understand why, even though he knows this context. This pattern extends to chores generally. I handle most chores while he's sleeping, gaming, or relaxing. I do more household tasks and even take care of some of his things like his laundry or chores that might hurt his back due to his chronic pain. You know what is a chronic pain? Him
Not helping out.
not helping out. I don't mind doing a little more, but what's frustrating is that every time he decides some big chore needs doing, he wants my help, usually last minute. It just feels like you have this setup, this chore setup, and whenever he wants to switch it up, you get dumped with more tasks, but there's no actual, switching of the tasks. You just get more.
I feel like we should really hone in on
Yeah.
the whole, I'm more of a schedule type person, and he's more of a do it whenever, spontaneous person. It's like, well, sounds like he's not really on the ball when it comes to this kind of stuff.
I think you just need to say, I gotta eat earlier, or we gotta find some sort of compromise, or you eat later.
He just be busting balls.
He's
He's not on it. He just be busting it.
he's off the ball.
He's very much off the ball.
He's getting
Busting
off.
your balls.
And
He's
I
getting
think-
off the ball.
Okay, well, I think that you should tell him and say, hey,
Balls.
I understand that, you can't cook every night, and It's okay if you want me to cook, but like, let's make a schedule for that.
Schedule.
And if I cook, then you
One.
gotta help me clean. That's it.
Exactly.
Part of his unpredictability stems from legitimate back and health issues. He doesn't know when he'll be in pain or how severe it'll be. And I understand that. When this happened occasionally, I attributed it to his health, but now it feels like a habit that extends beyond pain days. The same thing happens with errands. We split them fairly, but then he asks me to tag along on his because he's behind schedule.
How is that going to speed up his errands?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How much faster is he going to get his errands done?
With you. I mean, they're more fun. They're not faster.
Is he asking you to tag along so you can get him done faster, or is he asking you to tag along because he likes you?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Same thing with the, like, is he like, does he want you to hang out? I know you said that it's like, y'all don't talk about like stuff besides cooking, but like, is that because you're furious?
Yeah.
And so you're not really talking either? Like, I don't know.
I think you just need to talk about this more to him.
Exactly. Yes.
Meanwhile, I've finished mine and just want to relax. I don't see why I should have to come along because he managed his time differently. I want to sit down and unwind too. We spend plenty of recreational time together, which I love. I just want errands done separately sometimes because it's faster and less overwhelming. I have ADHD and a stressful job, which doesn't help, though I think this is normal 30-something overwhelm. At least we don't have kids and don't plan to. Basically, I want to know, is my irritation completely irrational or do I have a point? I can feel how I feel, but I wonder if I'm being lazy or childish since I don't know what a successful double-income, no-kids household should look like. Why do you think my husband does this? I want to approach him with empathy and will ask him directly, but I really don't understand. It's like he doesn't think he can do any chores or errands without me. Are there any practical solutions that might make us both happier without feeling like overscheduling to my husband?
And real quick, she's 32 and he's 34.
Overscheduling. So having just a schedule is overscheduling to him?
That's concerning. If he
I can relate
just
to
can't
that,
have
though.
any sort of schedule, especially because OP also kind of needs that. If she's got ADHD, she probably kind of relies on her schedule.
Yeah, they would be helpful.
Yeah.
Every time I make a schedule, I make it, and then I just don't do it. And I'm like, dang, I thought that would make me do that.
See,
Oh.
I have a bunch of notes things, and it's just like to do, and I have so many of them. I don't have like one to-do list that I come back to. I've got like 200 small to-do lists, and I need to do them or I forget. I need to make them or I forget
Yeah.
to do any of those things. Yeah, I think have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
I think you were saying it earlier. I think there is a possibility that you guys just have like different kind of social batteries. Because some people, like for me, I really like doing chores with people. And I think it's really fun. Whereas, some people are like, I want this to be my alone time and I need that. So maybe that's what he's thinking. Surly Sunshine says, my ex and I stayed friends. Now that we don't live together, he can suddenly take care of things himself and knows to wash dishes as he goes when cooking.
I know that, but I just can't do it.
You can't wash dishes while you cook?
No, it has to be after.
Figure it out.
Has to be after.
Bro, what?
Figure it out.
It's after.
I'm
My
a
brain
during.
says it's
Well,
after.
So Sophia,
Fix your brain.
you and I cook a lot,
Yeah.
so we kind of know the timing of things.
Yeah.
Dakota, you need to cook salmon, potatoes, and asparagus. What are you putting in first?
Asparagus.
No.
Okay, all right. See, that's it right there. That's it
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
why. That
You
answers
can't just hit me
everything.
with that. I would follow the recipe.
Well, no. Well, that's okay, but
Well,
like,
I guess there
that,
would be
that
separate
explains
recipes.
why you do the dishes at the end, because it's sort of like you don't
You
like
don't understand.
not that you don't understand, but it's like you're not familiar with the time of things.
Do you want to know the answer?
Potatoes?
Yes.
And
then asparagus. So I was close.
I would say
I would do
salmon,
asparagus
then
and salmon at the same time, personally, because both of those don't take that long.
they both take around 13 minutes.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom.
Dakota doesn't cook, guys.
Funny enough.
Don't bully him.
Funny enough.
But it's okay. See,
It's all
see,
right.
that makes sense why you would do the dishes at the end.
Yeah.
But you still get the dishes done, right?
Now I don't
Dakota.
believe that you get the dishes done.
Dakota.
Riley was really trying to help you there. I got some helpful advice and new ideas, though some suggestions were things we already do or my husband has vetoed in the past. I sat down with him recently, but I'm still not completely sure what to do. Here are the developments. First, my husband doesn't really see the problem with springing projects on me. He feels controlled when I ask for everything to be so scheduled. Though he said I wasn't trying to be controlling, so I'm not sure what he means, and neither does he. He's like, I don't really know what I mean, but you're controlling, but you're not controlling, but I don't know.
You're controlling, but I need you to control exactly how I do all this stuff, or I won't know how to do it.
He seemed torn and felt bad about it, though. He's frustrated by this, too, and says he thought we'd resolve this incompatibility and that I'd learn to go with the flow and relax. And he was disappointed.
Just go with the flow.
So why does OP have to make all of the concessions and you don't?
Because we're going with the flow, and the flow is my flow.
The flow is wherever I'm flowing to.
The flow is right here.
The flow state.
When I suggested counseling to find better middle ground, he said he'd go for me. But we both kind of hate the idea. We had a good talk. He wasn't a knucklehead, but he says he feels almost as panicked about scheduling things as I do about last-minute requests. Well, he needs to get over that. His newer job is much more schedule-oriented and already burns him out. However, he's willing to try fixing the dinner situation in several ways. We're setting a dinner time and designating nights when I help versus nights when I don't. I'll still do all dishes, and we only cook about 4 nights per week. He still doesn't want me to cook, but he agreed that if his back problems flare up, he'll text me immediately so we can either swap a takeout night with a cooking night, or I can plan to cook something simple. This feels amazing to me, and I might not even care about the broader scheduling issues if this works. He's committed to trying this, but worried he'll be miserable with a dinner time window. My biggest concern now is the underlying incompatibility. I worry that even though he's compromising with the dinner schedule, he's sacrificing a lot of himself. He's willing to change, but admitted it'll be frustrating for a while and asked me to be patient. He's willing to adapt, but now I realize he'll feel like I used to feel, and I worry we'll eventually divorce because he has a lower tolerance for being upset than I do.
Oh, dang.
Both my parents had multiple marriages and divorces, which feeds this fear.
Oh.
Oh, man.
It sucks that you had parents that have, had divorces because it makes it seem more like an option.
Yeah.
Like my parents didn't get divorced, so it doesn't feel like that's an option going into a relationship.
I mean, it's not great that he's already going into this with like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. It's not like, it doesn't seem like he's really fully committed into helping find a compromise. Feels like you both are just like, I want it this way. Tell me why. And there is no middle ground.
Well, it was working for a while, wasn't it? Like, before this became a problem, it was working.
A little while, and then OP,
And
but
then,
it was like
and then
mostly,
he just started to stop, and then
Yeah.
he stopped doing all the stuff that he actually did.
which is what I would worry about in this case. Like, is he just gonna eventually stop? I'm going back to personal therapy for my ADHD and depression to work on being more assertive and figure out if I'm overthinking this. He also proposed a solution I don't hate, but find scary. We've been married 8 years, one of kids, and I'm currently an ESE teacher with summers off. He suggested I take a leave of absence next year. I have tenure and can keep my position temporarily for 1 year before deciding permanently to see if we like me staying home since I feel so overwhelmed. But I don't think that's the solution.
He's like, I know what we need to do.
You
You
need to
can
quit
quit
your
your
job.
job, and then you'll
How is-
have time to do all this stuff I don't do.
Exactly. That's crazy. He's like, oh, you can do all the chores you want
That's
if you don't have a
crazy,
job.
bro.
That's a
Oh
terrible
my
solution.
God.
Well, the only way to make the solution actually work is if you pay her, because
Yeah.
I feel like when it comes to chores, I don't know why this is such a heavy thing with relationships, because I guess traditionally, men would do the outside stuff and women would do the inside stuff, and it would never, but men would also be providing for the house, so
Yeah.
then, it would make more sense. But now it's just splitting chores. Like, why is this such a hard thing to do?
It shouldn't be that hard. I don't hate this idea. I'd love to organize our house and handle everything, but I'm really good at my job and mostly enjoy it. We can definitely afford it since this loan repayment just stopped and that payment was more than my entire salary. Don't quit your job because your partner says,
Hey, yeah, we're having too much trouble with all of these chores. Quit your job.
that's terrible. You don't have kids. You find a lot of enjoyment and productivity and just like you're passionate, it seems. We haven't heard
Yeah.
everything, but it seems like you enjoy this job. So don't quit.
Well, no one's saying you're quitting forever.
But just the
You
fact that
could
it's
still
even
take a year off,
that's different, but
and
it's a little bit concerning that that's kind of on the table.
and maybe
he's
just be
just-
like, maybe I need to figure out what's some other stuff I like.
True.
I don't know.
He's probably right that I'm not stressed about these things when I'm off work.
I don't like him.
Wait, yeah, hold on. Everyone's saying now it's like just hire a maid,
Yeah,
bro. If
if
you got
this
the
is
money
such
like
an
that.
issue.
Yeah.
If you got the money like that, hire a maid.
I spend all of my chaos energy at work just like he spends all his order energy there. So then why he should quit? If he's getting so stressed by all the scheduling there, he should quit. This would solve everyone's problems and maybe I should do it.
This would solve his problems.
But it puts me in an impossible position if we divorce. When I raised this concern, my husband even offered to sign a post-nup agreement promising lifetime alimony. But I don't think he understands what he's saying. That seems really unwise. He has no concept of divorce. His parents never divorced. Few of his friends' parents divorced. And he grew up much more financially secure than I did. I'd love to hear from others about staying home for these reasons, or especially from anyone with similar incompatibilities in the relationship who made it work. And there is a second update, but I don't want this to happen.
Over just making a couple of snacks.
The thing is, like, it's crazy that they're thinking about her quitting her job because he doesn't want to do chores.
Hiatusing because you're overwhelmed by your husband's lack of ability to do anything.
Yeah. Like,
Without
at the end of the day, it's because he
without
can't
you,
do his
it
chores.
seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's even being like, "Yeah, you got to come with me on my errands because I'm running behind." Is she Flintstoning the car? Like, is she?
She's got
is
like a little horse whip.
Yabba dabba doing? Like, I'm confused.
Yeah.
What are you yabba dabba doing?
I feel like if he accommodates around $500 a month for cleaning around the house, this would all be solved.
I agree. Update 2. Getting perspectives from others was helpful. It was nice to realize my husband was the unusual one.
The unusual
He was very unusual.
But I still think you should take that year-long hiatus and go to Turks and Cake.
Turks and cake.
Turks and Caicos.
I'd always thought I was weird for wanting dinner times and bedtimes since I didn't know any other dink adults with those routines, and most of our childless friends leaned towards his approach. I'm not schedule crazy by any means, but that's how he made me feel. Recent developments, I got a promotion I've been working towards for 4 years, so I'm definitely not quitting my job.
Okay, fair
Yay.
enough. Fair enough.
The new role is ESE coordinator, which means less chaos, no more 22 classes per week or constant last-minute meetings since I'll be organizing them instead. It also pays significantly more. This should help with my chaos quotient being max out before I even get home. My husband wasn't pressuring me to quit, he simply suggested it when I didn't know the answer. We went to counseling, and my husband finally admitted some issues stemmed from his OCD mother and overly scheduled childhood, acknowledging that I'm not weird even if I'm more structured than people he knows. However, he still feels he'd be miserable with too much structure, so this revelation didn't solve much beyond explaining the root cause. We did work out some smaller issues though. We now have a set dinner time that he's maintained. For groceries, I handle all shopping with a shared Google list he adds to, so he avoids the store but has to plan ahead. He still cooks 4 nights a week, but now cooks clean, and I just handle dishwasher loading and finally pots. This means fewer dishes for me, fewer weekday chores for both of us, and I can grocery shop when convenient, instead of waiting for him to feel like it on Sundays. By the way, I feel like you should listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Do it.
There is a little bit left of the story. Any thoughts? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, because I'm glad you didn't quit, Joe.
I'm glad. You got a raise. It seems like you guys are working on it. That's good.
Yeah, keep going to that therapy because even
Keep an
though
eye
it's
on
just
it.
you guys got to the root cause and he's
Yeah.
like,
Too much structure will ruin my life.
it's like, well, you guys can keep chipping away.
Yeah.
Chipping away.
Keep working on that. He seems unhappy with the dinner time scheduling, but sticks to it without much complaining. My only remaining concern is that he doesn't want to continue regular counseling. Uh-oh. You should do that. Another routine appointment, and I think we need something to improve our communication. Is there anything besides scheduled counseling that might help? I'm working with my therapist on being more assertive, and I'm glad he recognizes his irregularity and is making concessions, but I want better communication tools for the future. I hate to add weekly or bi-weekly counseling on top of all the new schedules and routines we're implementing for my benefit, even though he'd do it if I insisted. We're attending at least one more follow-up appointment, but I'm scared that once we stop, any improvements might disappear. I worry that without strong communication skills, all our April and May progress will wash away during summer when I don't maintain strict routines or have work structure forcing them. And that's when you're going to put it to the test.
You should say all of that to your husband.
I agree.
And keep going to therapy.
Keep going to therapy.
Make him. I don't care if he gets disgruntled by it. Make him. You said he'll go if I force him.
Then force him. Right now you said, I don't know how it's going to last when we're in summer. That's when it's going to be put to the test.
Force. G-force.
But that's the end of that story, so we're going to jump into the next one.
My family is upset with my husband, and I'm stuck in the middle.
Not a good place to be stuck.
Oh, God. So today, me, 28 female, my husband, 33, and my 3 kids, 2 female, 4 male, and 7 male, and my brother, 28, sister-in-law, mom, and dad were at a late lunch, early dinner. My 7-year-old son, let's say Bruce, asked for another piece of bread and then didn't eat it. My husband got upset about him wasting food and said, "You literally asked for it, so you're going to eat it.
Eat that bread, son.
Eat it." My son, who's really emotional, starts crying. So my sister-in-law, Becca, tried to calm him and said, "It's fine, Bruce. I'll eat the bread so it won't go to waste." I could tell my husband got more upset, but I asked him to please just let it go. By the way, this comes from Striking Garlic 97 on the r/Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So we ordered our food and everything was fine. Bruce ordered a child's steak and fries with a side of fruits, and my other 2 kids got a hamburger and chicken fingers. W protein. Bruce got his food and was eating fine except the steak. He tried it, but I could tell that he didn't like it. My husband was getting upset again because he once again was wasting food. I tried to offer him some of his sister's chicken. He said no. So Becca offered him some of her food. He said no. He said no, thank you. My husband was getting upset again, but only at Bruce. My 4-year-old and 2-year-old were also, as he says, wasting food because they were only eating fries and fruit. I got done with my food and went to the bathroom. I was gone for maybe 5 minutes. When I came back, my husband was gone, and Bruce was crying, and Becca was holding him. My dad and mom were also upset. I looked around and said, "I literally went to pee. What could have possibly happened in 5 minutes?" My mom then explained that my husband started hounding on Bruce for wasting food. Becca and my dad spoke up, telling Bruce that it was okay. He ate the rest of the food. As long as he was full, it was okay. By the way, I tasted the steak, and it was indeed bland and dry. So my husband then slammed his wallet on the table and walked out to the car. I was trying to calm everyone, but I could feel tears in my eyes, so I was trying to hide my face. My husband was texting me from the car to pay for our food and get away from them, and our kids are not going to go with them. My dad ended up paying for everyone, and I thanked him and told him I was sorry for my husband's behavior. I grabbed my kids, who were all crying because they were told we were going to spend the day with my parents, and I took them to the car. My mom tried to come over and get the kids, but I waved her away because I knew it would just make things worse for everyone. I did feel bad about doing that, but I didn't want her and my husband to argue. I feel like, I don't know, it was all so stupid. My husband feels like my dad was telling our kids not to listen to their parents, but I know sometimes my husband can get irrationally angry. I don't know what really went down because, well, I had to pee. Forgive a girl for trying to take a piss. But I haven't really been speaking to anyone since I got home. I sent my kids to go swimming with their cousins, and I've just been silent towards my husband. I don't really know what to do because ultimately I feel like it was my fault all this happened. Incorrect. I mean, what say you, Sam? Is this all OP's fault?
I mean, wasn't she the one that was yelling at the kid to not eat his steak? Wait, no, it was the father.
Yep. So OP says, my husband didn't want to go, but I asked him if he would please spend the day with me and my family. Well, lesson learned, I guess. I feel like I can't have my family and my husband. It's one or the other, and they're always putting me in the middle to choose. My husband is a wiener, and honestly, so is my dad. They fight and leave me there to choose a side when I really want to tell them they're both being wienerheads and putting a strain on me and my kids. Meanwhile, my mom is super sensitive as well and starts with her backhanded apologies. Like, I'm sorry this happened, but it's no one's fault except your husband's. I don't know, they're all driving me insane. If I go with my husband, I'm a bad daughter and mother because I took their grandkids away. If I side with my parents, I'm a horrible wife who didn't stick up for her husband. Like I said, it's all very stupid to me, and I can't talk to them because no one will listen. Like I said, I feel like I'm stuck and have literally no one to turn to. Thanks for letting me rant. We do have an edit. We do have an update. I'm going to quickly read this edit. There's been a lot of issues with my son getting a steak, apparently. It's not like I let him order a 10-ounce steak and he just threw it away. It was a 3-ounce steak from the children's menu that came with fries and fruit. He went to a steakhouse, and I live in America in the South, so everyone gets steak. On to the update. Last night, after reading some comments, I sat down with my husband and basically told him that I don't agree with my dad for undermining him, but I don't agree with him about getting upset over a $6 steak and free bread. He tried to tell me that he did nothing wrong, but I told him that he might not think so, but everyone in that situation was basically being a wiener, especially in front of the kids. I don't think it was okay at all to make Bruce feel bad for not eating something he didn't like. Plus, it's not like he paid for the food. My dad did, so it's not like it was his money that was wasted. I told him that he was going to have to go to anger management or we need some serious marriage counseling, but I know in my heart that this is something that's not going to happen.
Well, I feel like that's like a relationship ender right there, right?
Yeah.
Because it's something that was interesting about what she said earlier was it wasn't that my husband's a wiener sometimes. It was my husband is a wiener.
Ooh.
And I think there's a difference between being a wiener by night or being a wiener in certain situations and being a 24/7 wiener.
We've all been a wiener.
We've all been let someone throw a wiener at the man who has never been a wiener, right?
We all moonlight as wieners.
We all moonlight as wieners sometimes, but to be a wiener in someone's eyes 24/7, to identify them as a wiener, I think that is a sign that there's a problem in the relationship.
So, Opie says, I told him I needed a partner in my life, not another angry a-hole that has to control everything. I grew up with a life like that, and I'm not putting my kids through it. I was tired of everyone walking on eggshells because he can't control his emotions, and our kids shouldn't have to live like that at all, especially at such a young age. I said something was broken inside of him that really needed to be fixed, that I couldn't be the one to fix it while trying to keep our kids from growing up to be like him. He started to cry after I said that. I know it was harsh. I told him I loved him and I just wanted him to be the guy I fell in love with and used to have fun with. I told him not to contact me unless it was about our kids.
Whoa.
OP has gone from 0 to 100.
I don't know. I feel like I would have backed off at the cry. I would have been like, I feel like the cry is like maybe there's a window of change that could happen.
So I needed him to take a step back and really look at himself and see if this is really the man he wants to be. I said I also needed to work on myself and learn to speak up more and try to be the mother I really want to be. I was tired of being a doormat and being afraid to say something to him just because I didn't want to set him off. I was refusing to live like that and shouldn't have to. I'm going to stay at my parents' house for a while until I figure out what to do. My parents are currently staying with my Nana because she lost her husband a month ago. I have talked to them before going there about undermining parenting, and they have to be the grandparents, not the parents, and they both agreed.
That's fair.
This is good. Bruce is also going to stay with his stepmother until school starts, just to get away from everybody for a while. So Bruce isn't biologically my husband's, but has been in his life since he was 2 years old. My ex is currently deployed. They live 5 hours away from us, so Bruce stays with me most of the time and spends most of his summer and fall back with his dad and stepmom.
Ooh, that changes things.
Yep.
Holy moly guacamole. You're seeing what I'm seeing, right? What are you seeing?
I'm seeing it. Hey, why are we singling out Bruce? Because that's not my kid. Husband's words, not mine.
Yeah, dude,
Husband's
that
words, not
changes things.
He's finding excuses and reasons to punish this poor, sweet, innocent boy.
Yes, because what? Because it represents a past relationship or whatever. Yeah, dude. Yeah. That is so crazy how a sentence just changes everything.
One detail.
You really buried the lead, OP. Jeez.
By the way, you want to talk about getting buried? I'm talking absolutely suffocated.
I want to get suffocated. Choke me, daddy.
We have 2,800 episodes for you to shove so far down your ear holes you might not come back. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you go to Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or your favorite podcast app and you search OK Storytime, you will find our entire catalog. Literally, you can binge it till the day that you do not breathe anymore.
That's true.
Please check it out. But
Please do.
before we get into this final piece in the story, I think we actually got a little juice left.
Squeeze that
Sam,
juice.
some closing thoughts, especially with this.
I said my thoughts. You thought the thoughts right of my thinker.
There it is. We've thunked the thoughts out the thonk.
The thonker.
And now we're going to get back into it. So I'm also planning on some therapy for Bruce. He has a lot of anxiety and emotional distress that I know he needs help with. I love my kids, and I haven't been a good mother by staying with someone who treats them badly. I saw my mother go through it, and I don't know why it took me so long to realize my kids are going through the same things I did when I was a child. It messed up my head, and I've accepted bad behavior because I think that's what normal is. I don't want my kids to think the same things. That's really all I have for now. If something else dramatic happens, I will update again. I just want to do good by my babies, and I appreciate you all for basically slapping me back into reality. I appreciate you all for basically bringing me back into reality. Thank you, and goodbye for now. And that's it. So hopefully we can assume that there was not a drama-filled update, and she basically figured out what the next chapter of her life was and was able to do so in a amicable.
Yeah, no, it seems like she's turning over a new leaf.
Yeah.
We love to see it. We love to be it.
My ex-best friend married my ex-husband, but she hired me to make their cake.
I would not take that job.
I, 33 female, am in a bit of a dilemma. You see, my ex-best friend, 31 female, had an affair with my ex-husband, 34 male, when we were married. Our friendship fell apart right there. I didn't have any contact with her until a month ago when she called me saying that she wasn't happy with her life. I have moved on with mine. I don't need their shenanigans. And by the way, this comes from Top File 1560. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So I'm Angie.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Riley.
And OP says, I run a small baking business that's relatively new. I only take orders for cakes on occasions like birthdays, graduations, or reunions, except for weddings. I have some plans to expand it and dream of opening my own bakery one day. A few days ago, I got an order from my ex-best friend. She wanted me to make desserts for her son's first birthday. She didn't just want a birthday cake, but also a whole dessert section for the party. It's a huge order, and the pay is good. It would be great for my business. But as you can see, she and I have history. This made me question why she wants me to do it. My ex comes from a well-to-do family and has a high-paying job. She could easily hire the best baker in town. Why does she want me to do it? My business isn't that big yet. It made me feel like she's trying to grab my attention, sabotage my business, or maybe she wants to talk to me after I shunned her last time. On the other hand, the businesswoman inside me says to take it. I know I can do it. The party is huge and there will be many people from affluent backgrounds. I can promote my business to those people and boost my revenue. I'm thinking if I just avoid her as much as possible, then it will be good. But I don't know. I'm stuck in between. I need some good advice. We do have some comments. Comment number 1 says, take it. Make them the best cake you can. Show them that you're not bothered by either of them. The best payback is no payback. Opie says, hey, at least this way I will get some money considering I wasted my 20s on an ungrateful man-child. Someone else responds, after reading this saga, I am wondering if your ex-best friend is trying to use this to get you to talk with her. I personally would not trust her for anything. My concern is that, yes, there will be a lot of influential people there, and this could promote your business. Conversely, she could also turn on you if it's not perfect and ruin you. Considering her backstabbing history, that would not be a risk I would want to take. Comment number 2 says, I don't think you should do it. You said that there is a lot of interaction when planning the bake, and you're likely to have to stay for the party. You might be over the ex and the ex-best friend, but there's some weird game going on here, and the idea of you having to be on display at their party while whatever the F they're playing at unravels around you while you're surrounded by your former in-laws sounds like nightmare fuel. I have a suspicion you are a pawn, and no matter how professional you are, you will be dragged into their drama. I honestly didn't even realize that, her ex-in-laws are also going to be there if this is like a baby party.
If you can show up and be unbothered, I would agree. I agree that that's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
If it's going to ruin you, then don't do it.
Yeah.
But if you can swing that, then like even if they have the malintent where it's like, oh my god, this is gonna drive her crazy, it'll
Right.
then drive them crazy that you're not being driven insane.
Taking the job in hopes that you can get business from their friends will only work if your ex and ex-friend allow you to stay all business. Do you really think that will happen? And we do have an update, so let's see what's going to happen.
I think that's entirely up to you if you stay all business. They can come up to you and be like, blah, 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 and you
Yeah.
can just go, not say anything.
I don't want to talk about personal things at
Yeah.
work.
But not everyone could do this. So if you
Yeah.
determine, if you can't, then
Yeah.
you can't.
Update. Hi guys, I've read your advice and suggestions. You all made some really good points. So I decided to talk to my mom about it. I just needed her insights about this matter. She told me that I should do what I want to do. My boyfriend also encouraged me to take the order. He said that if I had to stay to organize the dessert table, he would be there for me. I took the order, and it turns out it was my ex-husband's idea to hire me because one of his colleagues recommended my services to him. It was sort of short notice, so I had to rush. Anyway, I kept it strictly about business. I did take the payment in advance, just like some of you mentioned. I always ask for advance payments. I mostly maintained communication through email and had my assistant, who's also a family friend, handle all communications. My ex-best friend tried many times to meet with me in person, but I just told her to email me because I have cake orders for other people too. I only had to meet her once in person regarding the order. She sent me the party details over email. Like I mentioned, it was a huge order. I didn't just have to make a birthday cake for the baby, it was Pokemon themed, but also cake pops, cupcakes, and macaroons. Luckily, I had my friend Marie over for some help. Yes, I did pay her. So like usual, I went to deliver the cakes and other stuff for the party. There was already a table set at the venue. My boyfriend, Josh, 35 male, came with me to support me and keep me away from my ex-husband and ex-best friend as much as possible. As I was busy with myself, my ex approached me and said hello. Not gonna lie, seeing him after so many years, my heart just stopped. This man has given me the worst pain you could possibly give to a human. I'm glad I held my composure. I also said hello back. He tried to have small talk with me by saying that he's sorry about how things went down and what he said, and also that I looked better than the last time he saw me.
Wow. Okay.
Really? It's like, yeah, I'm so sorry that I, cheated on you with your bestie and then stayed with her, and now we have a freaking 5-year-old kid and that you're at this kid's party. I'm so sorry about all that, but you look pretty hot right now.
Yeah,
You look hotter than
I would
last
just
time.
blank stare right through him.
Yeah, do not talk to me about that. That is so off limits, so inappropriate. Then he dropped a big bomb. He said all these years he's thought of me, wondering what I was doing, even though he's happy with his married life. But I was silent. I didn't say a word. He just kept talking about how he misses me and my cooking. My homemade French onion soup is still his favorite. He misses it every time he gets sick with the flu. I didn't know what to say.
Straight up, the most devastating thing you could say right there is you'd be like, do you have anything business related you'd like to tell me?
Yeah, it's like, okay,
I'm only
well,
here for business, actually.
right. If you're all good here, then I've done my job. I'm gonna head out. I'm sure there's a reason that she needs to be there. She's not just there hanging out with the desserts for fun. Like, maybe you don't have to finish that part of the job. I didn't know what to say. At that moment, Josh noticed that my ex was making me uncomfortable and rushed towards me with a fake emergency. He asked if I was okay, and I said yes. After the table setting was done, I was about to leave when I saw my ex-father-in-law along with other guests. He noticed me and came to give me a hug. My ex-father-in-law is a very humble man. In fact, he was the only one who was on my side when I was going through the divorce with his son. Oh, wow. He looked really happy to see me and asked me how I was. He started chatting with me. I talked to him about my business and he gave me some advice. He even talked to my boyfriend. So he called Josh a pretty standard guy, whatever that means. Ex-father-in-law was nice and said that he would suggest my services to his friends too. He insisted that I stay until lunch was served. I said no a couple of times, but he managed to convince me. I only stayed for 1 more hour or so, but I was fine. I did notice that my ex-best friend was eyeing me from the corner. I was okay because Josh was beside me the whole time. I chatted with some guests who appreciated my service. I didn't have any more conversations with my ex. I didn't even stay for the cake cutting. I left the first chance I got, but my assistant stayed to make sure that everything was fine and for the cleanup. It was overwhelming for me. I saw some of my old friends and my in-laws. My mother-in-law avoided me, and some of my old friends just said hello. Later that day, I got a message from my ex-best friend on my work email saying that she liked my service and that her guests really liked my cakes and desserts. She also said sorry. That's not where it ends, though. I got to know from my friend Marie, who is still in contact with some of my old friend group, that my ex-best friend is not happy with her marriage. When my ex and her are in public, they often fight a lot. They also fought on that day of their kid's birthday. To be honest, I just told Marie not to bring me the gossip about her. And by the way, we will always bring the gossip to you with full episodes with more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more to the story, but interesting development here.
It would take every ounce of willpower within me to not go, oh, that's interesting. It's just like hearing, you're having problems with your marriage? Maybe I'll give you my French onion soup recipe. He told me at your wedding that he really missed my cooking.
Yeah, literally.
And then I would just never talk to either of them ever again.
Yeah, just don't, dude. Don't take parties from these people. Literally, this was your ex-husband's idea to hire you, claiming that, a friend recommended your services, when really he was like, oh, great, I can tell her how freaking smoking she looks, how much more smoking she looks than back then. Maybe if she looked this smoking, I wouldn't have cheated on her with her friend. That's crazy, dude.
Just craziness.
Craziness, but there is a little bit more to this craziness. But the silver lining is I got a huge fat check. I can finally buy a new sugar printer or maybe a good quality oven. Also, I just want to appreciate my boyfriend Josh. He has been incredibly supportive of me. He protected me from my ex and ex-best friend like a knight. I think he deserves his own cake from me. And I know a lot of you told me not to take it, but I guess I'm just a greedy Mr. Krabs who cares more about the money rather than being classy. Ha ha ha.
Money.
Okay, when it's that much money, I thought it was like a couple $100. This kind of changes things.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds it's baking all of that stuff and then also being there to set up and take down. That's, I feel like, usually not a part of the thing. Usually you just like send the order, you know?
And it's clearly elite.
Yeah.
You know? Everyone's like, oh my God, it's the best cake pop I've ever had in my life.
Right. So yeah, it's probably expensive. But this is the last time I will be taking any orders from them. I know they have a 3-year-old daughter whose birthday will be in 2 months. I think they might try to hire me again. I will not take it if that happens. And P.S. Yes, my ex-best friend did try to communicate with me during the party, but I managed to avoid it thanks to Josh and my ex-father-in-law. My ex-father-in-law knows about my situation and my discomfort with my ex-best friend. He kept me busy with small talk. There are some comments. Comment number 1 says, buy the sugar printer or the oven, but also take your boyfriend out to say thanks. He sounds like a great guy. Opie says, we will, sometime next weekend. I don't know. I'm wondering about the reason the ex's conversation came up about old times. Sounds like his marriage isn't going so well. Is he trying to make his wife jealous? I'm happy your service was professionally done. However, next time I think I would just be too busy to take the order. Your boyfriend sounds like a keeper. All the best. Someone responds, or the ex might be trying to feel out the situation to see if he has a chance of getting back together. Good thing boyfriend was there. Yeah, that's definitely what was going on.
Don't listen to any of these comments being like, I wouldn't have done it. It's like, hello,
Yeah.
money.
Literally.
Money.
Literally.
And it's like the best thing you could do in this situation is show up, be unbothered, and take the money away from the people who betrayed you.
Yeah. Comment number 3 says, money is great, but it sounds like so much emotional effort to get it from these customers. Well, yeah, whatever. OP doesn't respond to that. Yeah, it's up to her if that's emotional.
Yeah.
Like, if that's too much emotional
If
turmoil.
this is giving you conniptions, then yeah, don't do it.
Yeah.
But if you can just go, do you need anything else?
Exactly.
Then if you can do your retail,
Yeah.
food industry, service industry.
Yeah. Right.
Is that all?
My husband bailed on his daycare pickup, so I let them call CPS on him.
Ring, ring. Hey, you forgot your kiddo here.
My husband has always expected me to pay 50-50, but he never did his fair share of chores and childcare. Eventually, I got fed up and I told him we should trial separation, likely leading to divorce, mostly trying out logistics. This was me trying to convince him to pull his own weight, otherwise I'm out. Anyways, he said he would want 50% custody. So I told him if he seeks 50-50 custody, he should expect to pull his weight.
Ooh.
I told him we can divide for 1 week for him and 1 week for me. By the way, this comes from Throwaway Separate 11, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Boom, boom, boom.
And I'm Carly.
I'm Riley.
And I'm Keon.
So OP says, we're currently doing it as a mock house swap. Whoever has custody would live in the main house. Whoever is not would live in the apartment. The apartment must be cleaned at the end of the week before the swap, or else the new person can hire a cleaner at the other spouse's expense.
Ooh, I like this game.
So far, I've had to call a cleaner almost every week when moving in. But more importantly, his daycare has called me on several of his days to pick him up because dad was unavailable. It's almost at least once a week. I told him he needs to hire a babysitter or nanny to pick up our son on days he can't do it and not rely on me. After the 8th time or so, I told daycare, go ahead, call CPS. He was extremely mad I did this. I told him if he can't handle actually having custody, he shouldn't demand it. He's a high earner, and child support would easily be $2 to $3K per month. Help me think of a reasonable solution or middle ground. We have some relevant comments.
All right. Number 1, get full custody.
Yeah.
2, make him pay for child support. And 3, take him to jail because he did neither of those first 2 things. Or didn't do the child support thing. So that's my thought.
Definitely don't give him any custody. He's gonna forget your kid.
And just like imagine if the kid wasn't around responsible people.
If he wasn't left at a daycare, he could have forgotten him anywhere and it could have turned out very badly.
Dude, that kid could probably become a chimney sweeper for all we know. He's just out there sweeping chimneys, trying to make a dime.
Are those still a thing?
I feel like in
Britain.
Okay.
In
or
Britain.
like old cities.
Yeah, like
Yeah, makes sense.
Great Britain.
Sure. Commenter 1. What you should do is keep a calendar of the times he has not picked up the child and keep screenshots of when the daycare calls you and why. CPS getting involved now could negatively impact you in the court system since there's nothing on paper. OP says, true. We do have texts and emails with the schedule written clearly. Commenter 1 says, that won't really matter to a judge in a family court that's overseeing child neglect cases with CPS. They will look at you and ask why the heck you didn't pick up the kid when you were fully capable of doing so. OP says, I was at work. I schedule myself to work 16-hour days when I don't have him, and I work 4 to 6 hours on the days and weeks I do have him. Commenter 2 says, what is your goal in this? From here, it sounds like you are trying to scare him into trying harder in your marriage at the expense of your son's stability. If you want a divorce, find a good lawyer and follow their advice to the letter. If you want to save your marriage, find a good therapist and follow their advice. For the love of all things, leave your son out of it. Document, yes, but pick him up when he needs you. Trying to manipulate him with CPS calls, a looming threat of child support, will not end well for anyone. Your son most of all. OP says, no, I am tired of him and wanted to leave him. If he wants custody, I want him to be a responsible parent on the days and weeks where he has our child. I want him to prove he can handle his requested 50% custody. I don't want to do 50% custody, but in reality have full custody. He can just pay child support then. And we have a downvoted commenter. Being a high earner and a reliable child picker-upper doesn't really go together. At least it hasn't since the dawn of time.
Who the
They
heck?
usually pay someone for that. I'd say just get yourself a nanny and let him pay for it.
Well, that's his responsibility. If he thinks he's got to handle that. I agree with that comment in a way where he needs to pay for it himself. She shouldn't do that. That's crazy. What?
Yeah. I mean, she did say, if you can't pick up our son, hire a nanny to do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I have custody. I can do it.
Well, then you got to line that up, dude.
Yeah, no matter how rich you are, that's not an excuse to be
Yeah.
responsible for your kid.
There's more to this downvoted comment.
Oh
though.
my gosh. Can we skip it? You know what, whatever.
You were wrong to even try for 50-50 like that if you don't bring 50% of the income. If you do, just hire someone. The logistics of children's needs aren't bargaining chips for saving your marriage. That wasn't cool to weaponize their care in exchange for your marriage. You're unhappy? Get out. But don't do this type of thing. I don't say this to belittle you in any way. I say it to get you back to reality. For whatever reason, legitimate or excuse, he's been either unwilling or unable to meet your needs. That just means you have to adjust your expectations, and he can just tell it to his maker when this day comes. This man does not have your standards of cleanliness nor anxieties of picking up the children on the dot. So make arrangements and get his cash in court. Don't frustrate yourself with this nonsense. I see why you're downvoted, dude.
Not OP's husband, 134.
Yeah, no relation to this child.
That's his
456.
username. Yeah.
OP says, I'm not really trying to save our marriage. I'm trying to obtain full custody. He will fight for custody, and if he was able to care for our toddler, I'm totally fine with it. But he can't request custody and not actually have custody. We're trialing separation because we're trying out a house swap idea. I also want documentation that he's unable to take custody. Commenter 3 says, wait, does he out-earn you and still wanted 50-50 with his actual effing wife? Or do you also make similar money? Why did you move for separation if you have the funds to rent a whole second apartment? You didn't think to hire a cleaner or nanny first? I mean, without answering those questions, it sounds like you should be collecting proof of his inability to do his fair share, and then let a divorce lawyer get you primary custody. I wouldn't ever involve the feds or state in my child's life just to prove a point. You need to knock that effing crap off right now, because you have no court order protecting you from CPS's wrath. You're operating on a trial basis with no judicial oversight. If CPS is called, they'll ask, yeah, but you're the child's mom and you'd rather call CPS to prove a point rather than take care of your own child? Gosh darn it, this is effing diabolical on so many levels. You clearly hate this man more than you love this child. And OP says, we used to make the same, started off around 300K after kids. I cut my hours and his career kept growing. He now makes 500K plus, excluding bonus, and I make 100K as per diem. Making 100K is not enough for a daycare nanny and cleaner by myself. I don't hate him, but I don't think he's fit to be a primary or equal guardian. If I kept calling out randomly from work because he's not willing to, I'd get fired. Then I'd be really screwed. We have an update. I'm not gonna lie though, I do fully agree with the comment saying that you should not bring CPS into it, because I've seen CPS come to for kids before, and they will just go after her. When I was a camp counselor, we watched CPS get called on kids for kids.
What?
Yeah, and they will immediately just go to the other parent. So
That is crazy. I mean, dude, also making that much money and not taking care of your kid, you kind of already see where their priorities are.
yeah, she could totally get custody though from a court thing, and I feel like,
She get good benefits from it.
girl, you're making
Just-
100K. Where do you live that's not enough for you to take this child and run?
Well, she said it's not enough for a nanny,
No, but-
daycare,
right,
like to
okay.
take care of all the
You don't need a
kids.
nanny and daycare though. You just need the nanny.
She said nanny, cleaner, daycare. Which makes
Okay.
sense. That
Clean your
you're
house.
trying to pay
put
3
your kid in
salaries
daycare.
and yourself.
I was
so,
in daycare for full days. I turned out cool.
debatable. Wait, you were in daycare?
I was a daycare kid, yeah.
Yeah, it shows.
But we have an update. We're in a trial separation. He wants half custody. It's been several months, and it was the 8th time daycare has called me because he was unable to pick up our toddler. Sometimes he was just a no-show. And the daycare would call me because it was already half an hour past their official close time. Every time, the daycare is pissed at me for making them stay overtime. And we're charged $2 per minute of being late. They threatened to call the authorities and CPS if we keep doing this. I tried to explain the problem, but the daycare doesn't care, as they shouldn't. Well, last week it happened again, and I told daycare to go ahead and call the authorities and CPS. My soon-to-be ex-husband showed up an hour late and met our toddler there with the cops. Daycare also threatened to punt our toddler out. Again, understandably so.
We're you out, kid. You can't come back here anymore.
The poor kid got banned from daycare.
You're done.
My soon-to-be ex-husband was so mad and said I was a cruel mother for abandoning our toddler. I told him I warned him multiple times in the past, and issues only arise when he has custody. We switch each week, trialing house swap too. I told him repeatedly, if he cannot get out of work reliably, he needs to hire a babysitter or a nanny, and he cannot rely on me as his primary backup. I'd get it if it was like once or twice a year, or if babysitter or nanny plans fell through. But if I'm his ex-wife and he has custody, he shouldn't depend on me as his primary backup. I also felt bad about leaving our toddler, but if we separated, this would only keep happening. And I felt short-term pain might be worth the long-term gain. I feel bad our toddler is caught in the middle, but was I the a-hole for letting daycare call CPS? We have some relevant details. We're both high-paying jobs, but I intentionally do not schedule myself to work late on days I have him, or I have a nanny or babysitter ready. Now, with the trial separation, I've cut down to half time. I work half days on the days I have our toddler so I can spend time with him, and work long days on days I'm child-free. He has made no changes in his schedule. Commenter 1, please be careful that you don't screw yourself over with this. Yes, your soon-to-be ex should have consequences for failing to care for your son by not picking him up from daycare during his parenting time. However, you may not be helping yourself on the upcoming custody battle by telling the daycare to go ahead and call CPS. Instead, go pick your son up every single time and document it.
That's what I was gonna say.
OP did say she couldn't because her job would fire her. But if she's willing to hire the nanny for those off weeks,
then why not
have one on
Personally,
standby?
I just came into the story, so I don't really know the full context. But I feel like she should hire the nanny because it'd be different if they were like divorced and had a set custody agreement. That would be different because then she could be like legally not like he's got custody. I not supposed to be doing anything there. But I feel like right now when it's just trial separation, everything that she doesn't do is gonna like be marked against her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
There's
feel
no.
like if she
fully
could afford
agree.
nanny, do it every day, and then you can just be like, yeah, I paid for the nanny because he wouldn't pick her up
Right.
Yeah.
or pick him up.
Yeah.
You
I paid
just-
for someone trusted to be there because you were slacking.
Yeah.
Ask the daycare to call your soon-to-be ex before calling you and keep a record for you of how many times he has to be called because he is late or no-shows. Use that documentation of your soon-to-be ex irresponsibility in making sure your child is cared for and get full custody of your son, limited visitation, and full child support. Opie says, I'd lose my job if I kept calling out in place of him. Commenter 2 says, how will you manage your work commitments if you get full custody? The current situation is clearly not working and it's negatively impacting your child. Your husband is unlikely to get better, so you need to think of a new plan. Opie says, I'd use child support for a part-time nanny. I have a stay-at-home mom friend right now who I pay to get my child if my day runs long. Would be abnormal because the weeks I have had him, I only do shorter days. I'm done usually by 2 p.m. But she's there as my part-time nanny to help me out if I run late. Her kids are older. Commenter 2 says, unfortunately, your husband is almost certainly going to keep being unreliable. So I think you need to look at what aspects of that plan you can implement now while you get the legal divorce in motion. Once you get CPS involved, this could spiral out of your control in very bad ways, and refusing to pick up your child could look really bad for you if you get an unsympathetic caseworker or judge. After all, if your child is sick, someone needs to pick them up even if you're working. You're ultimately still responsible as a parent. Opie says, if I'm working and I have custody, I make arrangements and plan accordingly for just in case, as I always have. His backup plan is me. He's not a bad dad when he's around, which is why if he wanted 50% custody, I'd be fine. But I don't want to just wait around as his backup plan. If I don't have custody, I'd work or travel. If I have custody, I'll be present. But what I will not do is not have custody but sit on my butt waiting to be his on-call nanny. I still think that she just needs to suck this one up. It
Suck it
sucks
up
that
for a
she
little bit
shouldn't have to fill in for this, but if you want that ultimate goal, you gotta suck it up.
Look it up, document it, and then soon enough, he doesn't have to pick up the kid anymore because you're going to be picking him up.
Yeah.
Or, hot take, you also not want to pick up your kid.
Right. Because I'm kind of like, you really want full custody, but then every other sentence is you being like, but I can't be on call. But if you have full custody, you're on call. They just said if your kid gets sick, they're gonna call you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I think her argument for that is just I would have child support.
Right. So just set that up now, though.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes.
And someone says, why is the trial separation necessary? Opie says, trial separation was suggested by couples therapist and a divorce mediator was involved in structuring planning the schedules. Why was the husband late to pick up the son? His clinic ran late and he didn't want to cancel the appointments. But honestly, it doesn't matter because he expects me to drop my work, find coverage for my job to pick him up when he runs late. What happens if OP gets the full custody of her son? Can she change her schedule? OP says, I don't work crazy hours on the days I have him. If I had him full time, I might adjust my contract or switch my job. Switch to either 7 to 3, Monday to Friday, mommy track or exclusively work nights, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., and have a nanny at night because I wouldn't miss out much since he sleeps at 8. OP on her husband's job. OP says he's a surgeon, but I'm not going to say the specialty because it would be bad for him and me if he got doxxed.
Okay.
We have update 2 almost 1 month later.
Sir, don't operate on my brain because you're a bad father.
Right, like he's late to pick up his kid because surgery's running late.
Well, but like,
Sir, don't operate on
yeah.
my brain because
It's
you never pick up my kid. And
to-
you'll probably forget to take the stencils out of my brain.
to be clear, like he does not have any excuse in terms of like he should hire a nanny, but like it does make sense that he can't get out of the this surgery. But like you need to have someone to pick up your kid.
Yeah, and he needs to set that up, but he's
Yeah.
not, and he's expecting
Well, I
OP to do all that, and
I
it's
think
ridiculous.
he's still operating under the impression that they're married because they're not officially divorced.
Yeah,
Probably-
no, I agree.
Was still in surgery when they had that conversation.
No,
Yeah.
babe,
Like,
I'll
we're
get
gonna do
to
a
it after
trial.
this. I'm just working.
We're gonna do a trial separation.
his
Oh
phone.
yeah, I need to separate this real quick. That's what
Aye.
he was doing.
Update 2 almost 1 month later. Not too much to update, but after talking to our lawyers and mediators, it was decided I'll be moving back to our old home with our toddler in another state and resume my old job. We moved less than a year ago for his career. I will have primary custody. He has proven he cannot handle custody. We have agreed on an amount of child support, approximately $4,000 a month. He'll keep our current house once we leave and take on the mortgage. I'll keep our old home after the tenants move out. We are set to move back in 2 months. His lawyer advised him to accept these terms because I have clear documentation of him failing to fulfill his parental obligations, evidence that suggests alienation and career sabotage, and he's lucky I'm not seeking compensation for that. To answer some questions, I did not call CPS. The daycare called the cops, not CPS. I was scheduled to work on the weeks that he was supposed to pick up our toddler. I did choose not to scramble to get coverage to pick him up, as I was already in trouble for spontaneously leaving every 2 weeks on his weeks to cover him. In addition, getting coverage would take 30 plus minutes and then another 30 minutes to get to his daycare. Yes, I could have problem solved and asked my friend to pick him up, but I did not. Yes, the daycare knew about the trial separation and knew it was Dad's day, but since he wasn't coming, they called me. My old job still has needs, so I'll resume there. Most days are 7 to 3. But there will be some 12 to 24-hour shifts in which I'll have an au pair, we used to have one, and I'll have family around, my mom and siblings. We had moved away from my family, so my mom can help me with occasional pickups if needed. By the way, we'll always pick you up with full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast app, and search OK Storytime. It's like daycare for them. They've just got all these episodes to watch.
This is daycare for you guys.
Yeah.
Easy.
We'll just sit you down and put the TV on.
Yeah, just watch us.
I will say, though, that last little bit from OP did make it sound like she really just wants someone else to take care of a lot of it. Like, the way that she was kind of talking is just like, oh, my mom will be there. Like, I'll have, like, all these other different things that still weren't her, really. Like, I'll have an au pair. I'll have my family. Like, it's still not fully seeming like she wants all of the custody. I get needing help, though.
I will say also that she said that she could have gotten someone to pick up her son. Like, she was like, yeah, I could have scrambled and got someone. I honestly think you should have.
Right. I think in some senses she's not sounding the best on those lines. Still better than just leaving him, though.
Agreed. Weird. So weird.
We have a little bit more. Some relevant comments. We have a downvoted commenter. $4,000 a month is ridiculous. No child needs $4,000 a month to be supported. OP says, in 2024, we spent approximately $80,000 on childcare, not including food, diapers, medical bills, etc. That was a figure we used to estimate. That's with 2 parents. If split evenly, that would be $40,000 each. But since he's not parenting, he's paying more than half. Daycare plus au pair plus occasional night coverage In 2024, we were both working full-time. He was younger then and bonded well with our au pair. So I didn't mind working more. Now he is asking for me, so I'll return to my old job at part-time. Edit on why we need so much coverage. We're dual physician home. We take call. We call emergency calls too. We work nights. We work weekends. We work before daycare opens. We work after daycare closes. So we had daycare 8 to 5, 4 days a week for most of the care. Au pair for the mornings and the evenings outside of daycare hours. And he stayed home Fridays with the au pair. So they're both on-call physicians. We had a night nanny because I worked a lot of nights to avoid missing out being with him. X was on call essentially 365 days a year. Every night I worked, we had a night nanny as backup in case X got called into work, which is $250 a night.
Dude, you guys getting ripped off.
Commenter 2 says, I don't know. I would love to get his side. You sound spiteful and vindictive. OP says, his lawyer literally said to not take me to court. I'm letting him off easy. Commenter 3 says, if you have to take a pay cut to make this happen, he should also cover the difference. OP says, I took a $250K pay cut. That's why his lawyer is like, shut the F up and take it. Why didn't OP's ex hire a nanny to pick up the kid? Ask him. Good question. Actually, I suspect I know the answer that he hasn't said. I suspect he was trying to trap me. He got another job in another state away from my family, which makes me have to change job, cut my hours, resulting in $250K income cut on my end for his to grow. He probably wanted me to keep playing traditional wife. Commenter 4 says, you're still an a-hole for allowing your son to be put through that, which probably scared the crap out of him. OP says, maybe, but even if I tried to pick him up, I'd still be an hour late. Because daycare called after 5 p.m., it takes over 30 minutes to get coverage, and then it'll take around 30 minutes to get to him. And he wasn't scared. He was hanging out with his daycare teacher, which is justifiably annoyed. OP clarifies on how many times her husband had been late and how she had to pick up her son. No, he was late for much more than 11 times, but I picked up our toddler 8 times on the weeks he had responsibility. Worse than forgetting is knowingly neglecting. If I know I'm supposed to pick up my kid and I did not do so and assume someone else will rearrange their schedule to do it, is worse than, oh, it was my turn? Sorry, I forgot. 8 times is not forgetting. Also, I didn't call CPS. Daycare, not me, called the cops, which triggered CPS to be involved. I already scrambled to get coverage to pick up our toddler 8 times in a few months, all on his weeks. Doing it more was jeopardizing my job and career. He schedules his work schedules however he wants and expects me to pick up the slack, which is not how it works when you split custody. His weeks are his responsibility. My weeks are mine. That's the end of that.
I'm not really getting the vibe that you want to be the full-time caretaker here. You're saying he's not there whenever he plans to be, but you can also expect him not to be there.
Right.
Picked him up 8 times. Shouldn't you also be thinking, oh, I'm going to have to pick up my kid 8 more times if he's not going to be scheduling it?
I know she thought in her head it was just showing how bad he was, but it's also kind of showing how you're also not stepping up more.
Yeah. If you know your husband can't do 50-50 and you're putting him in situations where you expect him to do 50-50, you got to do 100%. Thus, you will get full custody. And that's what you're trying to get, but it just doesn't make sense how you're getting there.
Yeah.
My husband was hesitant to be intimate with me after my accident.
We got to be careful here.
I, 30 female, have been married to my husband, 45 male, for 5 years and together for 8. Obviously, we have an age gap in our relationship, and whenever we discussed possible health issues or medical care, it was regarding him. By the way, this comes from user Flora Ray, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Riley.
And I'm Keon.
We try to give our best advice, but we haven't experienced all of these situations ourselves. So if you have, let us know your take in the comments. About 4 months ago, I was in a car accident. I was talking on Bluetooth to my husband because I was nervous driving on the icy roads going to our house when another car rounded a corner too fast and lost control. It was one of those exact wrong moment things, and my car went off the road into a tree. My husband heard the whole thing, and my last memory before I lost consciousness was him screaming my name. I don't want to get into the bloody details, but I ended up being in the hospital for over a month. I needed multiple surgeries and have been in physical therapy ever since. I'm finally getting to a point where I feel like myself again and I'm no longer in pain. I've gained back some weight and look good, if I do say so myself. My husband literally worked out of my hospital room for the entire time I was there. He went home to shower, sleep, and look after the dogs, and then came right back. He attended all of my therapy appointments so he would know how to better help me recover at home. He was amazing and everything I could ask him to be in that kind of horrible situation. I love him so much. And so yesterday, while shopping, I saw this gorgeous black lingerie set and decided to surprise him with it. We haven't had spicy sleep since before the accident, and every time I try, it feels like he makes an excuse or expresses some concern about some random body part of mine that is no longer injured. He was on his laptop in bed when I came in wearing my new purchases, and I could tell he was taken by surprise. I basically crawled into his lap and started giving him some smooches. He was definitely into it, but then he lost it, pushed me away, saying we shouldn't rush this, and didn't want to jeopardize my recovery with spicy sleep. I was crying by the time he ended the sentence and said, "I'm fine. The doctors say spicy sleep is fine," but he was already walking into the bathroom and turning on the shower. I don't know what to think. Is it the scars, the memory of me in a hospital bed, unable to even sit up by myself? Does that repulse him? I finally am starting to feel good about myself and my body again, and the fact that he won't touch me is really hurting my mental health. Probably a long shot, but has anyone else experienced this? And we have a comment from OP. I think I realize that just because I physically feel better, it doesn't mean our lives can magically go back to normal, which was basically what I was trying to do. We both went through a major trauma, and pretending it didn't happen will only be damaging to both of us. Can't say how much I love this man. He is my whole world, and the thought that he's been hurting but trying to protect me from it by staying silent makes me feel sick. The bottom line is we both need to go to therapy to unpack everything that happened and develop some healthy coping mechanisms. Another part of this was we were trying for a baby before the accident, and I was excited to get back to it. And there are some comments here. Magic Connie Hand said, "I'm not a mind reader, but his reaction makes a lot of sense to me when I think about the last 4 months from his perspective. He heard you scream and then nothing from you. Presumably, he heard the crushing metal of the crash. For him, there was a period of time where he did not know if you were going to make it. Maybe he had to direct first responders to try to find you and had to learn whether you were alive from them. The fact that you were in the hospital for more than a month says to me that he was almost certainly told you might pass away even once he learned you were alive. The fact that he lived in your hospital room was probably as much for him as for you, because if he wasn't there and something happened, you might pass away and he wouldn't be able to stop it. It's very possible he spent that entire month in crushing fear, trying to consciously or subconsciously guard you from passing away. He almost certainly spent at least several days in that state. I'm assuming that the focus since then has been mostly on getting you physically okay. It's only been 4 months, and he's probably spent them all in caretaker mode. The thing about caretaker mode is that you push your own issues to the back. You don't focus on any healing you might need to do. Note that I'm not justifying that necessarily. Sometimes people go into caretaker mode or stay in it not because somebody actually needs care, but because our own fear is too scary to face, and that mode keeps us from having to deal with it in the short term. For him, the trauma of being unsure if he would still have you tomorrow is still almost certainly unhealed. As for why he responded that way, people tend to store emotional pain they're not addressing yet in the body. Tight muscles, strained postures, clenching. People grind their teeth and bunch their fists under stress for a reason, and we do similar things to the rest of our body. That kind of trauma can feel like a physical spring stored under tension. When you went to initiate intimacy and started touching his body in a way that normally creates a strong reaction, you added those feelings on top of the stored feeling, but pulling in a different direction, and the spring destabilized and went off. You basically accidentally took the lid off a pressure cooker before it had a chance to vent. I think that's why his response was centered around fear for your safety, even though you're feeling much better and not worried about yourself.
I see where you're coming from. Hopefully, I don't know, is this person blaming her for it?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
it's just an explanation of what happened.
Of what's going on, yeah. So it's really great.
All that trapped fear just kind of blew up in both your faces. That's what happened. It's not necessarily anything in your relationship that needs to heal. real. It's just that he needs to step back now and take the time to face that crap. I'd strongly recommend therapy to help him process. I also, on a personal level, find that crying tends to let some of that tension back out. I tend to use a Pixar movie to get the tears going. Sounds a little silly, but it helps. And there's an update 7 days later.
Really good the way this commenter described the clenching of hands. I think if we think of that with the body, within our
Body's clenched
emotions,
up.
Clenched up. It's like bracing for impact, bracing for the worst news ever. And it's hard to relax those tense muscles.
I want to bang, but what if you just cease to exist? Thank you again for everyone's kind and thoughtful comments. I read all of them, even if I didn't respond. Last night, when we got in bed, I curled up next to my husband and held him while I said, basically, we've been through a lot. Would you be willing to get therapy with me to make sure everything is all right for both of us? I love you so much, and I don't want any underlying trauma to affect our relationship. He was silent for about 10 seconds, and then the floodgates open. I've only seen him cry once or twice in our entire relationship. Once at our wedding, and the first time I told him I loved him. But I held him while he sobbed for what was probably an hour. He kept apologizing for it, and I had to keep saying, don't be sorry. I'm here, cry if you need to cry, and I shed some tears of my own. It was an exhausting but ultimately extremely cathartic experience. When it was all over and he was able to say more than a few words, he told me that there was about 15 minutes when he was sure he had just heard the love of his life pass away. Then we get to the hospital and the doctors made it clear they would do everything they could, but the extent of my injuries were extreme and severe. Then he spent hours calling family members, waiting, pacing, and trying to grapple with the fact that I might be gone and he might be alone. Then I spent 5 days in the ICU, mostly unconscious. He said he's never known fear like that in his entire life. In the end, we agreed to go to individual and couples therapy and even touched on the spicy sleep thing, wherein he admitted that he knows objectively nothing bad will happen to me if we have spicy sleep, but for some reason, it's sparking the protective instinct that makes him want to treat me like glass. So we're working on it. And our marriage is amazing. He's the love of my life, and we can get through this. Update 2, 21 days later. Hi, everyone. First, I want to say I was absolutely blown away by the outpouring of love and support I received on my first post. I never could have imagined it would blow up like that, and I received so many thoughtful and kind comments and messages from strangers. That being said, when I wrote that, I was in a weird place. Physically, I had mostly healed, but I was determined to shove down any emotional trauma because I was so exhausted from the previous months trying to work to heal my body. I wanted to be all right, and I wanted my marriage to be the same as it was before the accident. And by the way, it's the same as it ever was. You can listen to full episodes with stories like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. My husband and I just attended our third marriage counseling appointment, and I'm very happy to report the exercises and worksheets we've been given are helping rebuild the husband-wife relationship we had instead of the caregiver-patient relationship which has been present for the last 5 months. My husband has just had his first individual therapy appointment a few days ago, and I have mine next week. In short, we're putting in the work. We're also having spicy sleep again. Like a lot. I feel silly.
What's a lot these days?
Once a month. I feel silly bragging about that to the internet at large, but it makes me so happy that we figured it out. That part of all this is figured out. We did it. We're boning. We're banging. Bumping the uglies. We're knocking the boots.
We're laying pipe.
We're doing the horizontal mambo.
We're doing the devil's tango.
Prior to the accident, and really throughout our whole relationship, we've been so ridiculously into each other. It was rare we even skipped a day. I missed having that connection to him, and he was clearly hurting too. Anyways, I just thought everyone deserved an update.
Yay!
And that is the end of that story.
You're happy!
I agreed to watch my mother-in-law's dog for a month, then she disappeared.
The dog or your mom?
I made my husband put his dog in the shelter. The dog is actually his mom's, and initially he was supposed to be staying with us because she claimed to be overwhelmed by him and needed a break. By the way, this comes from Very Opinionated Femme, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, turns out she's actually moving out of her apartment and in with her boyfriend who's supposedly allergic. The kicker, now his mom has supposedly been allergic to the dog she's had for 9 years, which is complete BS and an excuse to get rid of him. We were only supposed to be watching him for a month because, again, she said she was overwhelmed and needed a break. I can put up with that. I have a newborn at home. I'm a stay-at-home mom until my maternity leave is over in February. I didn't intend to have the dog for more than a month. Now that his mom secretly moved in, she wants us to watch the dog until August when his brother can take him. The chances of his brother taking the dog are extremely low. He doesn't even have his own home. He's in college. And deep down, I think my husband knows that he won't take the dog either. We live in a pet-free apartment. I myself am not particularly fond of animals, and I fear I might have some type of aversion. He sheds all over the place, whines and scratches at my bedroom door when it's closed, and has separation anxiety. I look at him and feel nothing but annoyance. He doesn't even listen to me. 2 years ago, my husband and I took him in for 6 months while his mom was living with roommates until she got a home that allowed pets. Those 6 months were heck, but I put up with it and even helped take care of him. However, I'm not living with a dog for potentially years, especially when his mother lied to get us to take him in. My husband and I had a huge argument over this last night. I told him I don't want a dog, that I was fine for taking him for a month, but I don't want him here longer than that. He basically dismissed my feelings and said he's not abandoning his dog, which I find funny because that's exactly what his mom is doing, making her responsibility our problem. I suggested taking him to the pound, no unalive shelter, or vetting people to adopt him. He's staunchly against both. I understand why he feels this way. He loves the dog and calls him his brother. Still, I can't back down because I'm not forcing myself to put up with the dog again. I also suggested giving him back to his mom because finding a home is her responsibility, not ours. I told him he can either put the dog in the shelter or find a home for both himself and the dog. Wow. That's kind of intense. And I wonder if any of this feeling is either she just really hates dogs or she's stressed out new mom.
Honestly, probably both. Because
Yeah.
it does sound like she's just like, I am not a dog person
Really
in
not
the
a dog person.
slightest.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's a pretty intense reaction to be like, you don't get rid of this dog, I'm leaving you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's somewhere we can meet in the middle, maybe.
There's gotta be. 'Cause
gotta
it
be.
does feel like way too much built up resentment for a dog who's been around a month.
A month?
Who
I don't know. And
knows?
she was like, he's shedding, he's
That's what they
whining.
do.
That's what dogs
That is
do.
pretty typical.
Yeah.
We could get him in a program for behavior.
That's
for
what
a
I was
little bit.
thinking. We could do a behavioral program. It doesn't
Right.
actually sound like he has too many behavioral problems.
Whining at the door
Yeah.
and shedding.
Those
Well,
are
one
you
of-
can't.
One of those he can't really help.
Yeah, that's just kind of him.
You could brush him outside a little more.
Maybe that would help. Comment 1. He is jeopardizing your family's home. Your mother-in-law is as well, all for her fun. She's the person who deserves all the ire in this comment section. Your husband can move out with a dog if he so desires, but you can't be expected to stay in a situation that puts you at such high risk. Eviction is no laughing matter. It's truly a shame about the dog, but your husband should take responsibility and conduct interviews and rehome the dog for at least a small fee if he wants the best outcome for everyone involved. You would not be the a-hole. Comment 2 says you would not be the a-hole, especially if you guys are in a pet-free apartment. That could cause problems if the dog violates your lease. And adding a pet to the household should be a unanimous decision since you're already having a kid to care for. I will say, though, people can develop allergies to something they've been exposed to a lot. It might not be the case with Monster-in-Law over here, but it is possible. She can get an allergy test done if she's that convinced. Comment 3 says, you're the a-hole if you make hubby take the dog to the shelter. Comment 4 says, you're the a-hole. Logistics of apartments and all is fine, but none of that is the core issue. The dog means a lot to your husband and his family. He doesn't want to abandon him to the unknown. You think you can unilaterally override that. You said he was dismissive of your feelings, but you are being incredibly dismissive of his. This isn't tossing a beaten down chair. If the mom had him 9 years, then the dog is elderly. It won't be an issue for very long. And this family is possibly the only family he has ever known. And you want to chuck him out in a cage somewhere. There's a reason people think you're being selfish and heartless. Frankly, this would be a deal breaker for me. I would leave any partner, even a spouse, who demanded such a thing. I hope your husband kept the dog And if he needs to leave you to do that, I hope that he honors your request and does that. I'm sorry the two of you had a kid. This is way too dramatic. Hopefully he gets primary custody as he has compassion and stability traits. Jeez Louise. Common 5 says you would be the a-hole. That poor dog. 9 years? It's his home. None of you should have a dog or any pet because all of you are crappy. Well, okay, OP doesn't
Then you're
want
siding
a
with
dog.
OP.
Not sure what's going on with these comments. They seem pretty divided.
These commenters just went, I can read.
Yeah.
That she just does, she ate dogs.
These commenters are divided into cat owners and dog owners. There is an update. Genuinely, I think this is way too dramatic.
This has gone wildly over the top.
Yes, yeah.
I'm still on team let's find a friend to foster him and then husband can still go visit him. Or
Agreed.
more so, can we not just put up with this dog for
like a year?
Probably a year to 3.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, if it's very old, probably put up with it.
Yeah,
but that's just my own dog-loving nature.
Yeah. My only immediate no would be if he ever shows any sign of messing with the baby.
Yes, absolutely.
There does need to be and then he's gone.
I
He's
think
going somewhere.
Yeah. I think I'm on your side. I think the fostering option.
Yeah.
With a friend.
Because then husband can still go visit. He can go see him, hang out with his friends.
Yeah. It is, I think, pretty tough. However, as a person who's a dog person, and I very much want a dog in the future, not right now, but in the future. And I think it would be pretty tough if my boyfriend was like, I hate dogs. I don't want a dog.
Well, I don't think you'd get into dating the person.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm wondering.
How has
I'm
it
like,
not come up?
How did this not come up? Did it come
True.
up? And was he just like, well, oh well, can't have a dog ever?
Everybody sit down and ask your partners. What would
Yeah.
you do if your mother dropped off your old dog?
Yeah, what would you do? I would personally take in my darling Ava.
Yeah.
But that's me. And she's a whiner. She is a whiner.
And I assume a shedder as well.
And a shedder.
As
She's a
most
whiner and a
dogs.
shedder. But we've got an update. I'm going to just make a big blanket statement because I'm tired of being vilified and called cruel. Someone told me I should go to the shelter. I've been called immoral, inhumane, lacking compassion. If you want to be angry at anyone, be angry at the woman, my mother-in-law, that abandoned her dog, knowing she would not be taking him back for a man that she met a handful of months ago. That dog is bonded to her. He's her support animal. She raised him from a puppy, not me. I was kind. I took the dog in for just a month out of kindness for her. She lied about why he needed to be taken in. I'm female to male, juggling a newborn, and so much more. Dropping a high-needs dog with separation anxiety on me is so much more than I need right now. My husband has lived away from the dog more years than he did with the dog. And besides that, I can't risk eviction. I need a home. My family needs a home. It's so unfair to judge me and act like I'm some monster because I offered to find the dog a home or give him to a shelter. I shouldn't even have to do that. He's not my dog. He's not my responsibility. By the way, it is your responsibility to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story, but I'm half on your side.
I am on Team OP's side in you
Team
can't
dog
have the dog there.
Yes.
You shouldn't be risking that. You would have to do a lot of things before you kept the dog there, getting permission. You might have to pay a little bit more. I'm still team, clearly this is a problem in y'all's marriage. Let's find a friend.
Yes. And just OP, he continues to kind of push back and really emphasize, this is not my responsibility. This is my mother-in-law's dog. It's not mine. But you know how your partner feels.
Yeah.
You know how your husband feels about this dog, clearly has an attachment to this dog, even though he didn't raise or maybe wasn't living with him, but clearly has an attachment to this dog. So I think just out of respect for your partner, you do have a responsibility to try and find this dog a good home, rather than just sending it to a shelter and being like, well, it's not my responsibility. My mother-in-law dropped him off.
Yeah,
Not
your
my fault.
mother-in-law is the villain
Yeah, like,
still,
we're
but
not-
you can be nice.
Exactly. Especially because this is something that matters to your partner.
And
I
it's
think.
a little old man dog. Or
Yeah.
old lady dog.
So like I think this is like not everyone sucks here, but like mother-in-law is clearly the villain and you guys have an issue in your marriage. You need to work out and be on each other's side rather than like pitted against each other. But there's a little bit left. Yes, I've been a witch in the comments, but again, people are making awful assumptions about me because I want to protect the best interest of my child and not a dog that isn't mine. Anyways, I'm logging off. This has been a crap show. I know this is the internet and you need a thick skin, but wow, some of you guys' comments are genuinely hurtful. And that is the end of the story. Yeah, people are mean on Reddit.
My husband became intolerable after his work promotion.
What, is he a big shot now?
My husband, 42 male, and I, 38 female, have been married for 11 years. I have one kid, 8 female. We have a nice 4-bedroom, 2-house with a yard, a puggle, 3 male, and a generally nice enough middle-class American lifestyles. Previously, my husband and I made about the same amount of money, each making a decent to high middle-class earning. We live in a low/medium cost of living area, make around $65 each a year, and made the teeniest bit more. About a year and a half ago, my husband got a promotion that was unexpected and unavoidable. He tried to turn it down, and just recently he got another one. By the way, this comes from Poor Wife Throwaway, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, my husband works in software and never wanted to be a manager. Literally avoided any kind of promotion or thing that could lead to a promotion or supervisory position for basically ever since I've known him. But he's now the junior VP of tech at a small software company, making a little more than twice what he did 18 months ago. I mentioned that he never wanted this route because A, he likes his company, plus there aren't a ton of other options around for him, even his old salary level position, so he was kind of stuck into taking it. B, I think some unhappiness with this being forced and him trying to accept may be part of what's driving his behavior. But he says it's not, and I could be totally wrong. Ever since my husband started making this new money, he's been A, super full of himself, B, super picky about everything, and C, he stopped doing his chores around the house at first. He's not really working more hours, though he does get more hours off calls, but not extensively or regularly, only in emergencies, until I call him on it. After that, he started doing his chores again, but leaving passive-aggressive post-it notes about mine, like if I left a dish in the sink that he used at 9 p.m. overnight and didn't wash it until after work the next day. I was falling down on my responsibilities with the dishes since they're my chore. He said if I was allowed to criticize his chore, then he could criticize things that bothered him. And he said he left a note because he didn't have the time to keep it in his head to talk to me about it. Saying this in what I saw as a condescending manner. He also started criticizing the general organization of our house, where the kitchen stuff was placed, how the files for our financial stuff was organized, but he didn't want to redo it or come up with a new system. He just keeps putting stuff in random places and then telling me / putting it in the wrong place if I move it back to where it belonged. I offer to make new systems with him if he wants things in new places, but I can't keep track of stuff randomly misplaced. Example 2. He used to help our daughter with her homework and actually be more patient than me. Now he kind of huffs and puffs at her when she doesn't get it sometimes or something right, and has started asking me privately not to let him help her and to help her instead, which I'm happy to do, but she used to always ask for daddy for this, so it's a bit sad. I observed him myself after he asked the first time, just casually, and he doesn't get, mad or mean-spirited about this, but is way more impatient and kind of snidely treats her like she's stupid now or something. Example 3. We went to counseling a few months ago to try and deal with this, and he didn't want to try what the counselor said. So we started lambasting her degree, her experience, her salary, her rates were reasonable, all these kind of things to her face. Needless to say, We never went back. I would say he was basically harmful to this poor woman. I cut the session short and left in a huff, apologizing to her, and took an Uber home. I was so mad. He apologized and just said he reacted out of anger, but he's never been willing to see another therapist, saying it will be the same thing. Example 4. He bought a new car without asking me. Granted, he's making more money so we could afford it, and this would have been fine if we had talked about it. But we have a rule to talk about all purchases over $100, so this made me really mad. I love this rule. After I confronted him, he suggested to separate our finances to keep some of his new money for himself since I was being so controlling. This man who literally doesn't give two craps about money usually and never wants to do anything. So it seemed way out of character. After that, he starts complaining how our finances are lopsided and it's not fair that I get equal say if I make half as much as he does. Dakota, when two people go and get married, what are they?
It's a union.
It's a union, correct? And Keon, as a union, if one person makes money and the other person makes money, who gets whose money is that?
Our money.
Exactly. That's how I view marriage. And you don't even make as much as me. Blah, blah, blah. Where is this selfishness coming from?
I gotta assume it's just Mr. Big Shot Hot Pants thinks because he's making $130K a year, he can just walk all over everybody now. Which is a very, not uncommon thing. I've talked to those people who make me want to pluck my eyes out and roll them across the floor like a pair of dice because they're talking about how cool they are for making all this money.
Joe Best says, my ex did the same thing after he started earning more, bought a new car without me. Then he got hair off your part-time and had to grovel. Then he got hair off. He got laid off and then had to get a part-time job. Yeah. All right, edit. He sort of has taken this back, though there were multiple fights about this sort of thing, and I don't know that one won't reoccur. He has also not done anything to actually separate finances or made any other purchases over the $100 mark without consulting me, but he has come to me for two things he wanted to buy and has been pretty pissy about having to ask me, which is unusual for us. It's unusual for anyone to listen to a story, be asking, oh man, I wish I had more. And they can always go to their favorite podcast platform and search up OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify. Listen to many more crazy financial detrimental stories just like this. Where's the line? How long do you work with him? How long do you let him deny that you should go to therapy until you're like, I cannot deal with this anymore?
Honestly, I think we might already be at the point where he's like, well, I think it's a little lopsided. We should separate our finances. I think you should immediately go, why don't we just separate entirely? See how that feels. Why don't you see how it's like to be all alone with your salary, and if you enjoy that life better, and you can make all of your decisions for yourself without checking in with me or anyone. And it'd probably be even better to not have him around to, like subtly belittle or sometimes explicitly belittle your daughter. It's like you're a negative impact on her. And it's like little things, folks. Parents be like, well, how could I have messed up my kids? It's like, it's the easiest thing in the world to mess up your children.
Yeah.
This
is... Joe Best, they're at a scary point in their relationship. I agree. Hannah, oh yes, divorce. I don't think we're there just yet. I think we're really close to the fence. We're about to jump over it. Yeah. But we definitely need to talk about this. He even started trying to micromanage my Starbucks. Well, sure, it's not $100 at a time, but it's more than $100 a year. I'm not a crazy spender. I never have been. But I live like we're doing well, middle class, and did before he got the promotion. Because even then, we were doing great. I haven't suggested any extra purchases, really, so I don't get it. This is my husband just having a midlife crisis or what? How do I get through to this man? I want to say these examples are spaced out over a bit of time, and we still have many good days where my husband is a nice, lovely person who apologizes for these things, but then does something similar later. WTF, I feel like he's got mental issues all of a sudden. but has no history of that. Is this just the work stress? Could be a brain tumor. I mean, brain tumors make people do wild things.
Never discount a brain tumor on this show, just like you never discount lupus when you watch House. But it's never lupus. My husband and our friend are flirting in front of me.
Do it behind me.
Background. That's where you should be doing the flirting. My husband and I have been married for 12 years, together for 17. 2 nights ago, we went out for a friend's birthday, Jane. Jane is married to my husband's childhood friend. They got married about 1.5 years ago, and they have not been doing well due to him breaking Jane's trust.
Ooh.
They're in therapy, but it's getting close to divorce.
Ooh.
She is understandably very upset. By the way, this comes from user throwaway 202507, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
And OP says, more background that will make sense later. My husband and I haven't had the spicy sleep in 2 months. I've recovered from an injury that caused a lot of bleeding during the spicy sleep. A couple of times during those 2 months, I offered a different form of the spicy sleep to him, but he declined.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
That is kind of,
Really?
Is he okay?
I didn't expect you to have that answer.
No, that is crazy.
Is he all right? Are you all right?
Does he not like free money? Like if you gave him a $100 bill, would he decline that too?
Does he like hate
Maybe
rainbows?
it's just not good. He said he wasn't feeling up to it when I offered, and I believe him. I just want to make it clear this is not a spicyless marriage.
Wasn't feeling up to it.
My husband also has some self-esteem issues from prior trauma, and he's in therapy for that. While we're out for Jane's birthday with some other friends, everything's fine until they're a few drinks in. I only had one the entire night. Our other friends had to call it a night, so it's just me, my husband, and Jane. This is where things get weird. They start flirting in this weird power play for dominance. I don't know how to describe it, really. Jane says something about putting herself in a box.
What's in a box?
Like spicy jail. Because it's been so long since she's done the spicy sleep. And my husband jokingly grabs her by the throat and says, yeah, I'll put you in a box.
Sorry?
Wait.
Sorry?
Wait, what does that even mean?
Sorry? He went, yeah, I'll put you in a box. Huh?
Yeah, like, what, underground? What kind of
What?
It's like the Undertaker.
What? Not only did he say it, he
said, I'll put you in a box.
Dude, I'd be like, no.
That's what I say
I'd
to
be like,
any
whoa.
girls who talk to me now that I have a girlfriend.
If that happened in front of me, I'd be
say,
like,
God.
whoa, what just happened?
Yeah, no,
I'd
I'd be
immediately
like,
call that out.
I'd be like, water? Splash. So while all this is happening, there's this random dude that's hitting on Jane. It's karaoke night, and the random serenades her and gives her a silly lap dance. So all fun and games, right? No. It just keeps escalating from there. Later, Jane grabs my husband's hair and shoves him into the wall, and he kind of moans.
This is not flirting. They're cheating on you in front of you. This is not flagrant flirting. This is
flagrant.
I mean, it's certainly flagrant.
I would say flagrant flirting.
He just moaned, bro. No, it's about to get even more flagrant.
That's to me. That's
you guys
like
thought that was
in front
flagrant?
of each other.
You guys thought that was flagrant? You get ready for the next sentence.
Oh no.
He says, if you grab me by the hair again, it will end with my ding-a-lang and your hak-tour.
So that's not flagrant flirting. They're full on cheating in front of you.
That's just saying, I will have the spicy relations with you if you do that again.
They just
girl
told
who
you
is
that
not
they're
my
cheating
wife.
on you.
Or something along those lines is what was said.
Why did you not did you say anything?
Here we go. This entire time, I'm awkwardly laughing it off because I know they're both wasted and they're laughing.
No.
Tell them what's the saying?
Drunk action, sober thoughts.
What's the saying?
Divorce.
Yeah.
What's the saying? I don't know. Just like one check to the gut.
Yeah.
Real quick.
This is wild.
At the time, I think my husband is playing around trying to make her feel better because it's her birthday and her marriage is in the trash. I didn't realize it until hours later. My husband wasn't giving me any of the attention he usually does.
Girl, come on. We need to open our eyes to the signs.
Open your ass and smell.
More flirting keeps happening, and my husband asks me multiple times if I'm okay.
Huh?
I just quickly answer that I'm fine.
No.
If he's asking me that multiple times, doesn't that sound like he knows something is wrong and he's just looking to see how far this would go?
Why are you saying you're okay? Like, start yelling. I don't know. Do something, girl. They're cheating on you in front of you.
When the bar is closing, I drive us home. Jane doesn't want to go home because of things going on in her marriage. She stayed with us before, so that's not out of the ordinary.
I think I figured out why he didn't want to have spicy relations with you earlier.
Yeah. He's already having it.
He's saving it for the apple of
He's
his
already
eye.
having it.
You.
And of course, it just gets weirder. Jane pushes my husband onto the couch, straddles him, and yeah.
OP's like,
OP, girl, what are you doing? I'm sorry, they're cheating in front of you and you're doing nothing? Like, to be clear, they're obviously the a-holes in the situation, but what are you doing?
Find your backbone.
Like, backbone. Come on.
She's just laughing.
God.
This isn't flirting. They're cheating on you in front of you.
They're like basically banging
They're
in front of
banging
you.
in front of you. Huh?
My husband is enjoying this. I'm standing there dumbfounded. He kept saying how the dynamic was weird, but how much he wanted it. Later, while my husband is in the restroom, Jane tells me they are not spicily attracted to each other, but they're both very attracted to me? Like, yes, I know my husband is attracted to me. He comes out, and at some point, my husband says he wants to throw us both down and F us, and says, go F my wife to Jane.
What
So
is going on?
they've planned this.
Yeah, they want a threesome.
Amor c'est toi.
They wanted a ménage à trois.
Amor c'est toi.
OP says, as soon as what was said involved me directly, which, by the way,
all of this involved you directly.
has been involving you directly the whole time.
From the bar.
I had something to say then.
Opie said, well, wait a minute.
I said, well, what if perhaps.
Opie said,
what if we didn't do that, maybe? Also, maybe
I will do it.
I said, I think both of them sober wouldn't do anything behind Jane's husband, who is my husband's best friend from childhood's back, regardless of how much of an idiot he's being. And I wasn't down to do anything when booze is involved. They said, okay. What I said was a cop-out.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be comfortable if booze wasn't involved either.
The answer is,
get out of my house.
Yeah, the answer is smack.
Dude,
smack.
Okay, like, again,
And
not
the
blaming
fun
you.
kind.
Maybe the reason that they think that you're into this is because the whole time they've been doing it in front of you and you've been like,
Be like, yeah, I'm fine.
yeah, I'm okay.
No, it's fine.
Like,
which I guess it makes sense. You can dissociate.
Yeah,
As a
you
dissociator,
are.
you can dissociate.
You are, clearly.
When you get
Get
asked
her
the
out of
direct
here.
question of, hey, what's going on here?
You say, no, get out of my house.
Yeah, I don't even know what's going on here. I just know I want you to leave. But I didn't know how to reasonably voice that, so I used booze as an excuse. Later, I've come to understand I was dissociating at the
big
bar
time.
and was not processing what was happening. I also didn't want to come between whatever was happening because they're two adults.
One of them is your husband.
I'm sorry.
One of those adults is your husband.
There's actually 3 adults there. You're one of them. You're like, I didn't want to stop what was happening because they're both adults.
They're both adults.
You're an adult.
And you're in a relationship with one of them.
What? And it's your husband's best friend's wife?
Yikes.
I shouldn't have to be the sober person to stop or otherwise prevent something happening by being a mother hen. My husband should know better. Well, there's a true statement. We had previously talked about how I was uncomfortable earlier this month when she had put her hand on his chest while laughing. She was also wasted then. He apologized for not stopping that. So what would the night have been like if I wasn't there? I feel grimy or ashamed, but I didn't do anything, so why do I feel that way? How much of this is being wasted and silly and not having had spicy sleep in a while, and how much of it is something else?
All of it is something else. All of it.
Yeah.
They're cheating on you. They have cheated on you. They cheated on you in front of you.
That was like so weird. Remember, folks, it's the dangers of being overly passive. If you're passive to the point where you let your husband cheat on you with his best friend's wife right in front of you at the bar, that's too passive.
Too passive.
So, is this going to happen anytime he has a few drinks
Probably.
and someone gives him attention? I don't know. I've communicated all of this to my husband once he was sober, and he says he feels awful. He apologized and made us an appointment with a marriage counselor. I'm asking the above questions, and does it seem like therapy would even help? It could. Has anyone else dealt with something similar, and what was the result? I'm having nightmares about this.
Nightmare, nightmare, nightmare.
I'm so hurt and angry I can barely even look at my husband. Am I being unreasonable?
No.
Is it my fault for not saying I wasn't okay until later, even though I wasn't given the chance to really think about it?
No, you were dissociating. You were dissociating. But
you shouldn't have to think about whether or not you're okay with your husband being like, I'm going to D you down if you do that to me one more time.
It really
to another woman directly in front of
To
you.
be clear, like, it doesn't really matter what you should have done in the moment. The point is that your husband cheated on you in front of you, and now you should divorce him.
Yeah. There's an edit. It's 4:30 in the morning here, and I should really try to sleep. I've been trying to read and reply to all of your comments, but my head is pounding. Me too, sister. I'll pick this back up later on today. Thank you to everyone if I haven't replied to you yet. And there are some comments, and boy, are they going to be nice and friendly, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Comment number 1. I don't understand how are you not freaking out more dissociation. Yeah. I am not married, but my boyfriend and I have been together for 6 years. If a friend was straddling him, choking him, pushing him around, touching his hair, and making these comments, he and that friend would be out of the door so effing fast. I'd also be wondering if something has been going on with them already because this seems pre-planned almost, but obviously I wouldn't know. Comment 2, for perspective, I'm a 42-year-old man. At the time, I think my husband is playing around trying to make her feel better because it's her birthday. I literally said, "What?" louder than my usual tone when I read this. This is so whack that it's hard to know where to start. First of all, you have a very loose grip on playing around if it involves them mind-banging right in front of you while giving you a play-by-play of their desires in their role-playing.
Yeah.
Telling another woman, even your friend, that he would do what he would do to her is not trying to cheer her up. This is lust that normally goes unspoken. Alchemachol / being wasted doesn't give someone new desires. It removes their inhibitions that were already there. I've been wasted off my booty, but when I was younger and I didn't act like this with other women. And of course, it just gets weirder. Jane pushes my husband on the couch and straddles him. My husband's enjoying this. Nobody would disagree that cheating while being wasted is still cheating. Many people believe that there are different forms of cheating. To me, they were cheating right in front of your eyes. I literally said, "What?" out loud again. That is not normal nor excusable. Don't let them blame it on the booze. This woman is not your friend. She used booze as an excuse to be forward with other men. I sincerely doubt your husband is the first person she's pulled this behavior on while still yet being married to somebody else. Every day you continue this friendship, you are letting her spit in your face. As for your husband, I don't know what to tell you other than you are completely in the right. And there is an update.
Divorce.
Divorce.
Divorce,
or at least therapy, but divorce.
So much therapy and divorce. Double or nothing. Divorce. He cheated on you. I don't know how to make it more clear. He cheated on you in front of you.
It's like
in front of your face.
I wonder what would have happened though if when he had turned back to you and was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, and
if
you
had said no, if he would have shut it down instantaneously.
Probably, but it doesn't mean that he didn't cheat.
Right.
Because if OP's sitting there going, I'm fine. I'm sure if he actually was paying attention, and yeah, he's like drinking, but like, there's no excuse for that.
Update. Not really much to add, but I know people are asking for an update. First therapy session went well. My husband is genuinely remorseful and has no problem never communicating with Jane ever again. I'm doing my best to work through how I feel about all this and not compartmentalize. Time and hard work will tell if our relationship survives. I've not had a conversation with Jane yet, but I know I need to. She's asked me to go to lunch or dinner, just us, but I've had a migraine when she wanted to go, so that was canceled.
Dude, I'd never talk to her again.
There is no need to discuss.
I'd be like, no, I'm good. Bye.
You figure out your marriage, I'll figure out mine.
Yes, exactly that.
I've had one session with my own therapist so far, and I feel like I'll be better equipped to handle that conversation once I've had a couple more. If people want to know how that goes, I guess I'll comment on this post and post it to my profile. But by the way, we're always posting new episodes with full stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Just search OK Storytime and you can hear the whole archive, 71 days worth of stories.
True dat. True dat.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of stories.
Yep, we got a little bit more of this story here left, but I think we maybe need to do a little bit of separation.
Yup. Don't talk to Jane anymore and separate.
I think separate, and then if he immediately goes out and finds another lady, you know, there is no point in trying to keep this going.
Yep.
Because he is ruled by his
He's a
wiener.
He's a cheater, and he's got zero inhibitions, just standards, respect, responsibility, none of that.
As far as I know, Jane has asked her husband for a divorce. I only know this because he messaged my husband about it. Jane has not told her soon-to-be ex-husband what happened on her birthday, and my husband wants to tell him, of course.
Yeah, because that's his best friend.
Traitor.
Traitor! Probably needs to come to light, yeah. Not sure when that will happen, but it definitely needs to. Since they're already getting divorced, I could see how people might feel like that would just be adding salt to his wounds, but he has the right to know. I'll also post a comment when that happens and post it to my profile. I think that's everything, just a few developments to share. And there, I forgot to add, apparently, Jane said to my husband in the car the next morning, if I were sober, I would have effed you. Yikes! He said he just kept driving stone-faced. Also, my doorbell camera caught her asking him, do you think I effed up? I haven't formulated what I'm going to say to her about this yet.
You don't have to talk to her. She cheated with your husband.
You say...
You don't have to talk to her.
You say you make bird noises.
You say, and you hang up the phone.
You say...
Click, click. Hang up the phone. That's it.
That is the end of that story.
Oh my gosh.
Thank
Yikes. Good luck, OP. Good
thank
luck.
the Lord. And we are going to pull up the next one. My husband has been lying about his health, and now I'm livid.
Might be lying about other things, too.
My husband, 32 male, and I, 32 female, have been together for 8 years. A few days ago, he started complaining about a bump on his nose. Today, he went to the ER, and eventually they told him he has... I knew he'd been infected before we got together and thought he had had it treated. Apparently, if you don't finish the course of antibiotics, it can come back. By the way, this comes from user virtualmoment4745. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And OP says, here's what made me furious. In 8 years, I have never had it. I've been pregnant twice, and I know they test for STDs during pregnancy. Until last year, we had a very active, spicy sleep life. But I changed jobs and haven't been home often. When I'm home, I'm exhausted. My husband also has been working more. When I picked him up from the hospital and he told me about the infection, I was livid.
Yikes.
How could he have had it all this time without me getting it? The only way I can see him having it while I don't is if he cheated.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time, OP says.
Are you... Girl,
what
wait.
are we doing? He started crying in the car, saying he hadn't cheated and was sorry his past was causing issues now. I don't care if this is something that flared up from before. I wasn't exactly a V-card holder when we met either, and I knew he had a very spicily active past. And, you know, stuff happens. My anger comes from the possibility that he cheated on me. I told him that, and I told him the crying was just making me angrier, and he told me to pull over and let him out of the car. Now he's walking home. We weren't very far, and now I'm just sitting in the car in front of our place typing this. I don't even know what I want to do or should do. I'm just so sick of this crap. I can't take care of our kids on my own, and I feel so stupid and stuck. And there's an idiot. I plan on getting tested, and I'm hoping the doctor may be able to explain how this happened. From what I've seen online, it can be dormant in men for years. I'm just confused why I haven't gotten it yet. The bump is apparently blepharitis.
Wait, what is that? Blepharitis.
Yeah, and that was the second edit. The third edit is he's gone.
Oh.
Wait, what?
I had to call the cops in the end. I'm fine. My kids are fine, but he's gone. Thank you. I don't think I would have had the courage to actually go through with it if it weren't for you.
What?
And there's an update.
Okay.
I asked my husband for a divorce.
Good.
He didn't take it well, and I ultimately had to call the police to get him to leave. My boys and I are okay. My sister is staying with us now, and we have plans to move in together. My husband spent the night cycling between crying and begging, then asking why I wasn't reacting. I didn't scream or yell. I just went through my normal routine of picking up and dropping off the kids. The longer I stayed calm, the more desperate he became.
He wants to manipulate your emotions.
Well, I feel like,
oh, you're crying. Oh, I can help you. I'll be better. Oh, you're mad at me. Calm down. I can make it better.
what is that? Darvo? Deny, accuse, reverse victim offender?
Probably.
And you can't do that if you're just like, I'm just going to take the kids. And also, yeah, you wonder why she's acting like this? Because it's not the first time you've done this.
Yeah.
So, yesterday, after we dropped off the kids, I went to get tested. He waited in the car. I hadn't been sitting in the waiting room for 5 minutes when he came in insisting he had to tell me something right that moment. It couldn't wait until I was done. I had to come outside right now. I thought he was finally going to admit it. He said it was really hard and he was being vulnerable with me, but he had to tell me that he didn't cheat. Apparently, 4 months ago, while dropping off a DoorDash order, he was held at the pew-pew point by 2 men.
What?
He was working in a city I'd told him not to take orders in because it's not safe, so he was really sorry he didn't listen to me and I was right. After this, he basically asked me how I felt about what he said. I told him if that really happened, he should probably file a police report, and after a lot of hesitation, he did. I couldn't believe it. He actually filed a fake police report.
What? Just so he could tell you a lie? So
What's-
he is cheating. He cheated on you.
What's going on?
What kind of
What's-
story is that? That
what's
feels like a
happening?
story that came out of like 1950s, like in Gotham City.
And what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with you cheating on me?
What does it
And-
have to do with you? Yeah, we're
Having
all-
chlamydia.
Yeah, like, did they give it to you?
they
Did
threw it
say-
at me.
Yeah, and they threw it at my eyeballs.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
threw it at me at QP Point.
This
What?
is crazy.
And you didn't say anything?
What was he doing? Was he just fishing, just straight fishing for sympathy at that point?
He's looking for
He's like,
reaction.
yeah. I had a near, my life was endangered. Well, how do you feel? Like, I feel like you should tell the police about that. Okay,
I'm
Okay,
so
maybe I will.
confused.
maybe I will.
What?
So, when he finished his crying act with the officer and was escorted out, the officer asked me what I thought. I think he could tell by my face what I thought of the story. I told the officer the truth, that it was 100% fake. I told him about everything that had happened since Monday. He wouldn't give me a straight answer when I asked if he thought it was true. My husband, the perpetual victim, was probably expecting me to baby him and pat him on the back for having the courage to come forward. I made it clear I didn't believe him. When he got home, he came into our room and started taking all his clothes out of our closet, putting them on our bed. He asked me again if I wanted him to leave. I told him he could do whatever he wanted. If he wanted to leave, I wasn't going to stop him. He said his cousin was going to come get him. He walked away and left the clothes there, which is not what you do when you leave someplace.
You usually take some clothes with you.
Oh, this guy. Eventually, He tried to have another talk about how sorry he was, not for cheating, because he didn't cheat, but for not telling me about the situation he was in sooner. I asked him if he was sorry for the previous cheating and the lying. I laid out everything he'd put me through since the very first lie and asked if he was sorry. It was like pulling teeth to get him to say he was. Then I told him I wanted a divorce. The way this man cried and sobbed, I just walked away. He went into the kitchen and started throwing a tantrum. He grabbed a sharp object and threatened himself with it.
Gosh.
I backed out of the room and called 911. He tried to get me to stop. I screamed at him to leave the room I was in, and while I was explaining what was happening to the operator, he was in the kitchen saying I was wrong and that I'm lying. I shut myself in my son's room and waited for the police to come. I hear him leave, and at first, he took the car and left. Then he came back, and his cousin showed up. They stood outside and waited.
Okay. Wouldn't you just make a run for it?
This has gone way off the rails.
Because he got caught in a lie and he still won't say, you caught me.
I think maybe he was going to run, and then he came back. He came back in the car. He left and came back.
Dude, you keep going at that. Then nothing's making sense here. Does he have a brain tumor?
I don't know, man. When the police arrived, they talked to him and his cousin first. When they spoke to me inside the house, they claimed he said he was just cooking, and I was confused. He had taken out some food from the fridge before he left and put it on the counter where he had been standing. I told the officer what really happened, and he asked me what I wanted. I said I wanted them to take his keys and make him leave. They asked if he lived here. I told them he said he was leaving, but his name is on our lease. They went and spoke to him, then asked if he could just come in and take the rest of his stuff. I said that was okay. I went and stood out of the way and said nothing. He and his cousin came in and started getting his clothes and things. The officer stood nearby. My piece of crap ex was laughing and chatting with his cousin like everything was okay. He was trying to act like I was the crazy one, but it just came off as weird given the situation. Then he left. I called my sister and asked her to stay the night because I was afraid he would come back, and I started telling her everything. I broke down. Finally, my eyes were opened. She said she would help me. She and I could get a place together. She keeps asking if I'm sure I don't want to make it work, but I don't think she's trying to get me to stay.
Okay.
She's trying to make sure I'm 100% about getting divorced. And I am.
Got it. Okay. That makes a lot more sense, which clearly you do. If you do not feel safe in the same room or house as this man, get out of here. Good job, OP.
It's time. And by the way, it's time for me to tell you that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this on your favorite podcast platform, wherever you listen to podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Just search OK Storytime.
Oh, man.
To me, this is crazy. He cheated. Things happened. You guys got through it. But then he pulled this again. He's never pulled this again before. It's crazy how people just react this way and go all ballistic all of a sudden.
Yeah, man. Very, he's finally being held accountable.
Yeah.
It's happened before, and now OP's like, I'm done, and he's literally having a full-blown nuclear meltdown over it.
And going crazy, acting like nothing's happening, put food out on the counter.
When it's nobody but his fault. His fault.
Yeah.
Okay, let's finish this story. My main problem is he called me today and threatened to take our car. We have two. One is in the shop, and we've been sharing the other. The one in the shop is my car with only my name on the title. The other has both of our names on it. He threatened to take the working car and refused to take his name off the lease. He didn't like that I already had my sister lined up as a roommate. He threatened me by saying 2 weeks. I asked him what he meant, but he just said we could talk about dividing up the furniture, who would take what car, and who would pay what bill then. But I could tell what he really meant was you have 2 weeks to come back to me, or I'll start really getting nasty. I'm terrified of doing this alone, but I refuse to give in and go back. My grandfather has been offering me a house he owns for years with no rent The only problem is he lives several states away. Girl, that's no problem. That's a great
Yeah,
problem to have.
Probably you're out there.
New life. Grandpa's house, new life. I wasn't willing to leave the state before, but I'll do that before I let my ex try to control me with the lease.
Yeah.
And that is the end of that story.
Seems like you got a window to a new life. It might be time to do that. Sucks. It's hard, but you gotta do what you gotta do to keep safe. And this is what you gotta do in these life. You can't buy a house now for 70 grand anymore, like grandma did.
My husband left me with our newborn so he could party with his friend.
Oh, God.
My husband, 32 male, and I, 30 female, have a 3-month-old, and the last few months have been very challenging. Challenging on one end because we have a new baby, our first, and also because of his expectations. By the way, this comes from Hearts and Wolves, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Dakota.
Before our daughter was born, he was very involved in a niche sport, game nights with his friends, and going out. Now he wants to get back to all of it at once without considering me or our daughter. This week, he has spent a majority of his time going to practices for his team and going out. Well, when we talked about things a few weeks ago, he agreed we should share the responsibility. That was always the plan, as we both work full-time. So I bring up the fact he's been going out without helping me with the baby. We didn't have a daycare picked out for when we go back to work. House needs to be picked up, and our baby just doesn't sleep well unless he's held. He got so mad at me and said he feels unappreciated for what he does contribute, help with feedings, dishes, and laundry. He then told me he will be leaving to go to his hometown 6 hours away to clear his head. He left me and our daughter. Now he's sending videos to me of him and his friends going out and having fun together. I have a meeting with my therapist soon who says he's emotionally harmful and to work on empowering myself. I feel like he deserves to live the life he wants, but not at the cost of my life too. I'm looking for advice on how to process this. Am I missing something? My husband genuinely doesn't see the problem here. We have some comments. Can't wait. Comment 1. Having children, no matter how much you want and love them, pretty much ends life as you know it, hence the reason I have none. You can build a different life as a parent that is satisfying and wonderful, so I'm told, but the one you had pre-parenthood is gone. It is asinine that he is pretending to be unaware of that, and he is pretending. This mother effer took a mental health break to go home to his parents and play with his buddies, and sent you video to rub salt in the wound. He did this immediately after you asked for support he was not providing. He's training you to not ask. So stop asking and breathe fire. He is a crap partner and worse parent. He shouldn't have done it out of fear of repercussions if he couldn't find a decent human reason to not abandon his wife and infant. I agree with other comments. Secure any assistance you can from family or friends. Find a good attorney and file for divorce. Follow the attorney's advice regarding lock changes, etc. Get all you can in settlement and child support. You are going to need the financial support to supplement the single parenting you will be doing. It's just a matter of whether or not you will have him hanging around to check out whether things are tough or not. Imagine you and or the child with serious illness, or heck, a stomach virus. You can watch his videos while you clean up puke, I guess. I'm so pissed on your behalf that I not only want to divorce him for you, I want to move him in so I can use my decades of wifely experience to make him regret his crappy behavior and possibly his own birth. I like that commenter.
Yeah, that's a scary lady.
She said, "You have no wrath. I will provide it for you."
Don't know if, like, right now is the time for divorce, because it's like, yes, what we've seen in this post is extremely bad, but, like, becoming a brand new parent and not necessarily being ready for it is something that will make you go crazy sometimes. and it's been 3 months. It's really, I'm not trying to give this guy a pass. It's really bad. But like, do you really not see any path forward besides single parenting? Like,
she's done 3 months without help.
It hasn't been 3 months.
The baby's 3 months old.
But he didn't leave. Wait, I'm confused.
He wasn't helping to begin with, though. The second the baby was born, he was like, I'm going back to my parties, guys.
Exactly. He's like, he's doing the reflexive, like, that feels like a coping response. Not like that feels like no, I'm not ready. And it's like, maybe once he just like accepts it and locks into fatherhood, it could be really good.
Is he gonna lock in after he drove 6 hours away and is taunting her?
That's not good. I'm saying just maybe try to do counseling or something to get this back on the rails, because I don't feel like just jumping into single parenting is like a W. Like a lot of people say, it's like, just divorce him and be a single mom. It's like, that's also not necessarily a huge win.
We have an update. Things took a major turn, and now I'm considering filing for divorce in a few months. When my husband returned from his hometown, we had a big fight. He saw nothing wrong with leaving for a few days to spend time with family and friends. I told him it wasn't leaving that was the issue, it was the abruptness and manner in which he left. Turns out his parents are the ones who encouraged him to leave. I called his parents to get a better understanding of why they thought that was a good idea, especially since I thought we were close. My mother-in-law calls me often, but went radio silent while my husband was gone. So when I finally talked to mother-in-law, she says I shouldn't be so controlling and he is allowed to have his own life. She went on to ask why I didn't send our 3-month-old with him, and I scoffed. Why would I send my baby with my angry, irrational husband? Basically, the parents think I'm too controlling and their son needs to still have fun and live his life. I never said he couldn't. After that whole ordeal, I remembered how guarded he suddenly became over his phone a while back, so I checked it. I found text messages between my mother-in-law and husband talking about me like I was nothing. Every little thing I did, he would report back to his mom, making me look like a monster. I also found out he's been recording me, turning the baby monitor on me to watch me and baby at night, recording arguments and disagreements too. I confronted him about the texts and recordings, and it got heated. He ended up pulling out his phone and recording me again in the middle of the argument. I snapped and started wailing and screaming. I'm so embarrassed and scared because I've never in my life experienced that type of mental break. The worst part was he recorded all of it. I hate him for that. Yeah, just you're fine recording it.
Yeah, this guy, maybe divorce this guy, yeah.
I packed up me and baby and left to my family member's house. Thank you to everyone for the advice on the original post. I actually listened and will start moving in a different direction.
Yeah, I think it's time for divorce now.
Update 2. I met with my attorney and she is not concerned in the least bit about the video of me having a meltdown. I live in a 2-party state and did not consent to be filmed in my home. So she said the video most likely would not be allowed as an exhibit, and even if it was, she'll handle it. I told her everything from the emotional abuse, lack of help for the baby, him leaving us twice to go out of state, and the constant devil's lettuce smoking. Lawyer feels like I have nothing to worry about as far as custody goes, but made sure I was informed on his rights as well. Right now, I'm getting my financial affairs in order to pay her retainer, so it will take a little time. Relationship-wise, husband calmed down a bit. He was so sweet for a few days and then went back to trying to argue. I basically just listen to him and leave the room. I refuse to engage. I'm disappointed that he won't actually work with me on a solution. Instead, he wants to just go back to the way things were. Things will never be the same.
Bro, after you record your partner having a full-blown mental breakdown over something you did to them,
with no comforting,
just it's over forever. The moment I find out you have a secret conspiracy with your mom against me, you're done.
He submits those too as evidence, and even if they didn't get dismissed, the judge is like, why are you recording your wife crying on the ground, dude? And they're like, no, you don't understand. She was really upset. Like, I was yelling at her. She was really upset.
He'd just be like, ugh. You're indicted on 18 counts of stupid.
As far as the video footage goes, he allowed me to delete everything from his phone and cloud storage. However, days later, I discovered he sent the video to his email as evidence. Of course, I wiped everything, but there's no telling if he sent it to friends or family. I asked him if he's sure the footage has been deleted from everywhere, and he assures me it has been, but I know he's lying.
I would just, like, at this point, let him send that because you already live in a two-party consent state. So if he sends that to a bunch of people, that's just crime he's committing. And go ahead and let him.
I get the, like, you're embarrassed about it, but you gotta just, it's nothing to be embarrassed about except for him.
As soon as you explain, he literally drove me into a mental breakdown and then recorded it because he abandoned our 3-month-old daughter and I to go hang out with his broskies.
He is also starting to delete text message threads from his mom, so that adds to my distrust. To the people that say there are two sides to the story, of course there is. However, you will never hear his side, so what's the point in even saying that? Just know that I'm holding myself accountable on my actions. I got way too emotional and shouldn't have reacted the way I did when he recorded me. I have zero reason, in my opinion, to come here and lie. I need real help from people who can understand the situation I'm in. I came here for help on my side. So I appreciate the people who offered help and didn't judge me. I was fearful he would try to take my child, but I'm confident that won't be an issue at all. By the way, it'll never be an issue for you to find full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, favorite podcast app, and search OK Storytime.
Yeah, man.
Do it.
Do it. Do it now.
There's a little bit more. Whoa. But there's a little bit more. But what are we thinking? Are we lined up again?
Yeah, I think good job divorcing this guy. I feel annoyed that I tried to be like, well, maybe let's see, maybe he's... No, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
He wants to marry his mom. He's like, see how much worse she is than you, mommy? Mommy.
If I could have just married you, Mom, we would have been fine.
Mommy, I don't like the way she talked to me.
And she's like, it's okay, my little sweet.
He's like, uppies.
Uppies. I'm coming home for some uppies this weekend.
For now, I'm just keeping the peace until I can get my lawyer money up. I'm still hopeful he will start helping more and stop being so secretive, but we'll see. The truth is, we're having regular postpartum arguments that have been escalated by him going to his mother for counsel and recording me. I have always tolerated his overbearing mother for the sake of keeping the peace, but when I finally stood up for myself and put boundaries in place, it feels like she went for the jugular during the most vulnerable time in my life. It's awful. I've gone full no contact with her. She's always been able to see her grandbaby, but I don't need to engage with her. My husband shouldn't have allowed her to be so involved, but he did. Now things are significantly worse. Again, thank you so much to the people who offered hope and kind words. And that's the end of that story.
My husband's brother yelled at him to treat me better.
A+ brother, though.
My husband and I have relationship issues. I've been hesitant to leave him, mainly because we have a child together, but also because I care for him a lot. He got really dark a few months ago, did and said a lot of things that hurt me. I was ready to leave him because throughout our relationship, he never really treated me that great, and I think I was just at my limit. And by the way, this comes from a deleted user, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
When I tried to leave, he broke down and begged me to stay. So I did. He's changed since then. He's been treating me like an equal being, going to therapy consistently for 4 months now, and opening up to me about things he didn't before. I've been noticing that overall he seems so much warmer to others, not just me. Recently, we were driving, and conversation about his little brother came up. He's 22, and I was telling my husband about some things his brother had told me about his girlfriend. My husband randomly admitted that his brother had told him to treat me better. I was shocked, because I didn't think anyone noticed or thought of our relationship like that. I never said a word to anyone. When I asked him what happened, he seemed embarrassed and brushed it off, saying that his brother just kind of yelled at him, that he doesn't treat me like a woman. The crazy thing is that my husband admitted to not treating me well, too. I didn't know what to say, so that was the end of the conversation. Since then, he's been bringing things up randomly, asking what I like and how I would like to be treated. My question is, how do I respond to this, or do I just let him do his thing? My usual response is to just brush it off or say whatever you want, honey, but I've been growing a bit of self-confidence, so I don't want to brush it off anymore. I'm also just still shocked that someone said something to my husband, I guess. I don't know what to think of it. Got nobody to talk about it. Comments. Comment 1. Your child can pick up on this behavior as early as 3 years of age. It does not matter if it's happening in front of the child or not. There are a great many social cues your awful relationship dynamic is known to your child. Kids pick up on as little as a stress shift by the mother. When World War II was looming in the air, a significant increase of mothers brought their babies to their respective doctors' offices all throughout Europe. The doctors were stunned. Then there was a connection made. The mothers were experiencing elevated stress levels because they knew the imminent danger of war. The children picked up on that and were also stressed out. If you are staying for your child, don't. Comment number 2. I think you should think more deeply about the fact that his brother has higher standards for you than you do for yourself. As for your husband changing thanks to therapy, people can change. So I'm not going to recommend disbelief, but I do recommend caution. Sometimes therapy only teaches people how to push boundaries more surreptitiously. My usual response is to just brush it off or say whatever you want, honey. What a terrible response. Just give him a straight answer. He has always done what he wants. If he is actually changing, then think about how useless your response is to him. He has realized in the last 4 months that when he does what he wants, he is a bad partner to you. He now has to make up for all the time he spent not caring about your needs. The best way to figure out what someone wants is observation, but observation takes time. The next best and quickest way is to ask. He asks you what your needs are, and you tell him nothing. And if he isn't changing, just playing along, then you're just making it easier for him to pretend that he is trying. And there's an update. I think it's the 7-month mark is when it's like, all right, that's like a cemented behavior. It goes in 7, it's like 7 weeks is like how long to break a habit. And then 7 months is like how long to like solidify it into your like programming.
Yeah, for a new behavior. Yeah. I thought you were saying like, because everyone says like 3 months to find out who like they really are as a person.
Yeah, and I think it's 3 months is how long someone can theoretically be a different person. So he's already past that threshold, so he's probably trying to change for real.
Do you remember how old these people are? Did we have that information?
I don't think we did at the beginning.
I didn't think so either.
But
I know little brother's 22.
It's really hard. Clearly, this is someone who was in this relationship for a long time and kind of let go of the stuff that they wanted or what they needed. So I think that commenter might have been a little harsh to be like, what a terrible response. It's like, that might just be the only response they know how to give.
I mean, I think it's good to have that semi-wake-up call of like, hey, dude, like, get better standards for yourself. Like, why is the brother holding you to, like, almost like, I don't think she needed it. I think she knew she wasn't being treated well, but that kind of like, dude, like, tell him what you want. Like, this is your chance. Like, take it. Like, do everything that you can to, like, if you want to keep this relationship, this is your time to keep this relationship, or at least try to.
You got to lock in and figure out what you want. Update. So I left him. Ow. Everyone was right about him. I'm safe with my daughter and my little brother. It's been a few weeks since I left. Even after I posted last time, I won't lie, I still had hope for this man. What made me decide to leave was the fact that despite him verbally me and later threatening to me, he acted like I was the one who needed to bend over backwards and apologize to him. It wasn't that he treated me badly that was the final reason I left. It was the fact that he was stomping around and acting like a child, yelling at me and my daughter and making her feel anxious. I still tried to be nice. I tried to talk to him. I asked him what was wrong, and he just gave me that look he always does. I don't know how to explain it, but it makes me feel so small. He doesn't break his gaze or say anything. He just stares until I have to look away. It felt like a switch flipped in me. And okay, let's take it back. He just stares until I have to look away. It felt like a switch flipped in me, and mentally I was gone. That night, I put my emergency plan in place because I already had one from a time he threatened me months ago. A few days later, I was physically gone while he was at work. I'm not going to give details because of the possibility he can see this, but I have a new job, a new apartment in a new city, however and wherever I want. It's so freeing. My daughter couldn't care less, and somehow that makes me happy, but also deeply sad. I should have done this a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. She's just happy that she gets to go to a park more often now with her uncle. My brother confided that he's happy he doesn't have to hear him yell anymore. My family keeps calling me. My mom's telling me I'm making a big mistake and embarrassing myself.
Cry about it, Mom.
Does Mom know everything? If Mom knows everything and is still saying that, no contact with Mom.
Probably not every.
If she knows what you went through or we're going through and she's still saying that,
say bye-bye.
Goodbye, not talking to you. I'm not even going to bother explaining myself or my side of the story. His family keeps calling me too. His mother is apparently in the hospital because of a stress-induced attack from this. My sisters-in-law sent me nasty texts and called me until I blocked them. My ex keeps calling me too. I hate it. It makes me feel sick to my stomach. My brother-in-law only sent me one text and it says, "Good for you. I hope you find a better life." That makes me feel somewhat comforted with this whole situation, and I hope he's all right. And by the way, you can be all right now if you listen to 4 episodes with stories just like this on Spotify and iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to over 70 days worth of stories. There's a little bit more story.
Like, yeah, good for you, girl. You got out. I get that sometimes it takes a minute to, like, fully realize the situation that you're in. And once reality slapped you in the face a little bit more, hopefully not. Actually, can I say that?
I don't know.
Once reality threw cold water in your face a little bit more.
Once reality gave you the people's elbow.
Yeah. Take out my other one editors.
I think
or else Riley's gonna yell at me again for getting demonetized.
You're just too much of a pistol. I feel like I got us demonetized yesterday.
I didn't actually. I just said something. He was like, "Are you trying to?" I was kidding. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke.
No, we did. We were on the Tic Tac.
Oh, I was
the
there.
Tic Tac patio act
but
yesterday.
That was the story.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I might have. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy. Document everything that these people are saying to you, so that if this a-hole tries to like do custody battle or something, then you can just be like, "Hello, Mr. or Mrs. Judge. Look." So that's my update. This will be my last time posting on here. I am completely done with relationships and will probably never get into one again. But thanks to you, everyone, who took time to comment and message me. I seriously feel like each one slowly built my confidence bit by bit. I know I'm a bad person for not doing it on my own. No. So I thank all of you sincerely for helping me. I owe everyone my new life. I wasn't going to post it first, but it feels nice to get this all off my chest. I feel like I'm going to explode with pent-up emotions lately. And there are some more comments here. Number 1, I call BS on his mom in the hospital because of the stress. If it isn't a lie, then that kind of overdramatic reaction is reason enough to GTFO. Proud of you. OP says, no, she actually has been at the hospital very frequently because of stress. Her husband is the original. My husband acts exactly like his father, except his father is worse. She works, does all of the parenting and housework while her husband and all the kids watch TV and play games. Nobody ever tries to help her, and so she ends up in the hospital from exhaustion and stress. I feel bad for her because I already know my ex probably ran back to her crying, but I also don't feel bad for her because she also left me nasty messages that I ruined him and his life. So, whatever. Comment 2, I know that you don't want to bother explaining yourself, but I think you might feel better if you send a certain email explaining the situation to the people bothering you, like your mom. I'm not saying you have to engage in a conversation after that. You can even block them after sending the email if you want. Maybe it won't have any effect, but I think later on in life, you can feel good that you didn't allow him to have complete control of the narrative. If people don't believe you, that's on them. You will also know that they have no excuse if they treat you badly later. And that is the end of that story.
My husband said I didn't do enough for him, so I divorced him.
Yep.
My ex-husband was a problem. I didn't mind the myriad of health conditions he had, but the fact that he refused to take care of himself was the real issue, especially when his problems caused me to lose the very little sleep I was going to get. By the way, this comes from Misdiagnosed Glee, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I worked for a terrible corporate security firm that really doesn't care about its employees. I was the single field supervisor in my region, and on top of my regular 40-hour work week, I also was called on emergency to fill open positions. This was during the height of the vid, as well, which eventually put me at a regular 80 to 100 hours per 7-day work week. The money was incredible, but I was miserably exhausted. At the time, my husband was working part-time and receiving SSI and spending all of his income on himself, video games, and fast food against his doctor's order, while I paid both of our shares of the bills, car payment, insurance, phones, etc. This went on for about 3 years, getting progressively worse as time went on. Despite the amount of money I covered for him, I still managed to bump my credit by paying off my car and saved enough to buy a house. Nothing too fancy, but it's a 2-story with an unfinished basement, plenty of space, decent-sized yard, creek, and really cool neighbors who constantly invite us over to drink and play pool. While moving, I was still working 80+ hours and couldn't spare time to help much, but I paid for the moving truck and dinner for anyone willing to help us pack up and move. I asked my then husband to make sure everything gets packed. He packed all of his own belongings, then the household furniture, then ignored whatever didn't fit, was late returning the moving truck, and I had to call about the fee, which they were very kind enough to waive considering my circumstances. The result was that the majority of my stuff, my roommate's stuff, and my brother's stuff didn't fit in the moving truck. My brother was making trips every day after work to pick up a carload and bring it home. I asked my husband to please do the same, and he agreed. 3 weeks later, I finally got a day off. I worked a 12-hour shift and planned to go pack up a few boxes and take them home while I was out. I walked into the house and saw that my ex had literally done nothing. 3 weeks, he said, he had been moving our stuff and he hadn't touched a thing. I had a meltdown. My legs gave out from shock and I sobbed on the stairs. My roommate and best friend happened to also come in right after me and found me on the stairs. He held me while I cried and assured me he would take a few days off to get everything packed up and moved. He told me to go home and sleep, but I told him I'm already here, so I might as well take a few boxes since my worthless husband lied to me about doing so. He helped me pack up some things and I drove home. I didn't even bother to unload it. I went inside and collapsed on my bed and cried myself to sleep. Hours and hours later, I finally woke up a groggy mess and made my way out to my car to start unloading. Best friend was there unloading his own car with a tired smile. He had been going all day and the sun was setting. Meanwhile, my husband was slacking off in the basement doing who knows what, breaking his promise. We managed to get everything moved, but I had to extend the lease by 1 week and pay a prorated rental cost, all due to my husband's neglect. I was quickly racking up anger at him, and finally, when we were moved, I sat him down and told him how angry I was about the lies and his laziness and what he caused. He started accusing me of all kinds of things in return, like how I wouldn't passionately hug him because of his medical issues. I lost it. I'm sorry, what?
That's crazy.
He's like, why won't you hug me? I screamed at him that I don't passionately hug anyone. I don't even passionately hug myself because I'm working the equivalent of 2 jobs with overtime to support his lazy butt and pay for his lifestyle because he wastes all of his money on fast food that he shouldn't even be eating and video games. And because he doesn't lift a single finger to do anything around the house like unpacking, cooking, cleaning, nothing to make my life easier. In fact, he's actively making my life harder. I'm still cleaning up after him when he leaves dishes everywhere and stains in my carpet. So no, I don't want to passionately hug him if he's not going to do anything to earn it. He went radio silent on me for 2 weeks. It got progressively worse. He wouldn't text me or speak to me, wouldn't answer my calls, and eventually wouldn't even look at me. Meanwhile, he's still living off my money. So finally, one day, I message him to ask him why he's treating me this way, and he ignores me. I ask several other questions, nothing. Finally, I tell him that if he hates me so much, he should just divorce me. He tells me the next day he wants a divorce. I ask him why. You're not going to believe his answer. You don't do enough for me. Oh boy, did he mess up. I tell you, this ding-dong is the absolute most obtuse, smooth-brained, intellectually deficient, situationally unaware, half-witted, possum brain claw to say that. I unleashed it. I told him that I do everything for him. I pay for everything so he can live the cushy life. I give him a roof over his head, food in his belly, money in his bank account, because at this point I was also giving him extra money whenever he asked, and taking days off specifically to spend time with them, that I was doing absolutely everything for him. And this is the repayment I get? I got extremely quiet and bucked into his chest, pointing my finger at his face, and told him that since he wanted the divorce, he had to file. And if he even suggested at forcing me to sell my house that I had paid for, I would destroy him. I would hire an expensive lawyer, force him into the longest court battle of his life, and take him for every single penny he would ever earn for the rest of his life, along with court costs. Then I punted him out. He moved out. He told me he was moving in with his family a few cities away and asked me to file. I filed in my county because it was closest. He raged at me when he found out. He wanted me to file online and pay an extra $270 out of my pocket since he expected me to pay for the entire thing. And I told him no. A few days later, I got a strange text from him that didn't sound like him. I argued with him. Then a confession was made. It was his girlfriend. Dang, man, dang. He had lied to me again and moved to New York from Georgia. She went psycho on me and screamed at me via text about how abusive I am. Long story short, we argued and I told her I wouldn't be speaking to her again. I'm filing in my county because I had already started the process. And I'm not changing my mind because he lied to me. If he hadn't lied, I might have been willing to file online, but I'm definitely not now. Months go by, and finally the dates come. Drove him to Georgia, and they were 15 minutes late. I knew this because I was 15 minutes early, and the clerk asked if I could contact him, so I went outside to do so. I saw her roll up. I told him she's not allowed inside due to the vid restrictions, but honestly, I wouldn't have let her inside because I hate her. He nodded, and up we went. We spoke to the clerk and started our paperwork. I have some legal knowledge, definitely a ton more than him, due to curiosity and things that have happened to me in the past, so I knew which questions to ask. I know how lazy this brat of a human is. He hates doing anything he doesn't have to do. So I reminded him in front of the clerk that he still had property at my home and I wanted out of my house. The clerk told him that anything he leaves on my property after a certain date will legally belong to me and there will be no way of getting it back without my express consent. He asked if he could work something out with me and I told him, no, you'll have to adhere to these legal guidelines, and anything left afterward will be forfeit. By the way, you should never forfeit more stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and search up OK Story. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I feel like we got OP's perspective really hard. We don't really have anything about his perspective other than like just that he was unable to take care of himself or do anything for OP or pack up the house and that he has some sort of obscure medical issue.
But we don't know that he was unable to.
I mean, I would assume if you're on SSI, like it's because you can't work.
But
that's the assumption I'm going to make. I'm going to say that he's not just leeching off of
I agree. Like, I think it's probably some medical thing. But I do think that, like, unless she's, like, totally being unreliable narrator, I think that she would have mentioned, like, he's physically incapable of doing this.
I mean, but she's just upset. I don't know. It's true. We never know.
Yeah.
We only get one perspective in these stories.
Yeah.
We only get one voice. And I don't know. This one makes me sad because I've seen this happen. And it's like, I've seen the guy like in the depths of like the shit. And it's like, he can't get out and he's just keeps making the wrong choice. And it's true. His partner is not responsible for like getting him to change his behavior, but it's just like such a just awful situation. And then it builds that resentment. And she's probably it's not just like she started hating him to this degree, smooth-brained, half-wit, whatever, all that stuff, been building up for years, potentially years, probably at least one. And when you feel that resentment coming from your partner, it makes a lot of sense that you're going to go look for some level of like, yeah, I don't just like despise you.
Now, while we were together, his blessed mother, may her soul rest in peace, despite her son turning out to be worthless, passed. I loved that woman. She was a saint, and I wanted something of hers to remember her. He had inherited her dining rug, while not worth a lot monetarily. It is still a lovely black and red antique, and I knew he couldn't afford to ship it, nor could he afford to rent a moving truck, nor could he fit it into his girlfriend's tiny crap car. So while he was crying and loading up his mother's belongings, all of which he had left behind when he left initially, I told him I'm keeping the rug. I said this flatly and without feeling. He tried to argue, so I pointed out the obvious, and he conceded. He knew I was right. That rug is one of my favorite belongings. I've begun renovating our unfinished basement, and it currently resides in a lovely guest room that houses my bookshelves, armoire, king-size bed, and 55-gallon fish tank that is not yet home to anything. And for even more good news, I married my best friend, and we've been together for nearly 4 blissful years. On our 5th anniversary, he has agreed to a ceremony since we were married in a simple ceremony with only 2 witnesses. And for more petty revenge, I still have my ex's childhood art binder, which he cherishes, and I will continue to hold it until he pays me back the $400 he owes me for the brand new tires I put on his car a mere few weeks before he decided he wanted the divorce. I'm never giving it back at this rate, and I do send him annual reminders.
A lot of people in the chat are being like, yeah, and he was just like playing video games and like eating all day. Like, I don't know if y'all know what the good life is, but like just like being stuck in not doing anything with your life and unable to get out of it while you know you want to and you should is like not the good life. It's a terrible life.
My husband couldn't stop smoking. and it's destroying our marriage.
It's time to put the cig out.
Bro about to get flamed. Trigger warning for substances. My husband, male 31, and I, female 33, got married 2 years ago after a not very long relationship. We met online and we didn't know a lot about each other, of course. In the meantime, we shared details about ourselves and stories and, like most people, found out things about the other that were new.
Okay.
We decided to get married. I moved to his country. This is relevant. And we have been enjoying it pretty much.
Okay.
By the way, this comes from Novel Pain 6306. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime Reddit and do so. So, we have talked about how we feel within the relationship. We have our routines, our growth, and how our lives have been developing. And we've also had arguments, deep conversations, and disagreements that we consider natural, since we went from being strangers to sharing the same physical space in a short amount of time, considering what is usual.
Okay.
The more recurring topic of these heavy nights in the last 3 months, is it 6 or 3 months?
Last 3 months?
In the last few months.
Yeah.
The more recurring topic of these heavy nights during the last months has been devil's lettuce.
Uh-oh.
He's smoked it every day before we met. He went through a period where he smoked a joint after his job and was kind of in a liminal phase due to his previous relationship and losing his job. When we met, 3 years after his breakup, he started to work out, found a better job for his career development, and decreased the frequency of his smoking habits.
Okay.
Also, since the moment we met, I shared with him 2 important details. 1, I am on medical treatment that is suggested to live without smoking due to the risk for cardiovascular events and my regular use to substance as a teenager.
Okay.
Okay, that's important. Even though I was sober for more than 10 years, I was a depressed teenager with dangerous thoughts towards my own life. And in a very low volume, the fear of falling back into it is still there. We agreed he would only smoke with his friends and never at home.
Okay.
But recently our agreement has been updated. In January, I had to go to another country for 3 months for an artistic residency. And while I was there, he started smoking again more frequently. The reason, I was not there, so the risk and the need for him not to smoke was also gone. Things worked pretty well. We talked and communicated effectively every day. We didn't need to talk during the moments when he was under the effects of it, and every time he visited me, without the devil's lettuce, things were normal and pretty comforting, and our relationship grew even stronger. Time went by. My time at the residency finished, and I moved back to our city. I moved here 2 years ago when we got married, but I still don't have friends of my own, and coming from a different continent and cultural background, it has been complicated to find time to commit to knitting my own net while working. I work in literature, so it's a bit of a lonely job.
Oh, yeah.
And yet it feels like home already. His friends are all devil's lettuce smokers. Every time they meet, literally, they smoke. It's as if they can't or don't want to chill without its use, like devil's lettuce is connected to enjoying time. I have a lot of friends who will use it, but it's like I've never seen anyone like that dependent on it.
Yeah. I can see why people do that, because I mean it's sort of like, you know, people go to the bar to just hang out, or like they do XYZ, and that's kind of the thing they do to hang out. And it's tricky because in most relationships, this probably wouldn't be a problem if like both, like I guess if everyone's like, yeah, you smoke, whatever.
Right.
But in this context, that it can affect your physical health, and you also have a history with substances. It's tricky because he needs to take more consideration on your half and his habits, and it feels like a compromise is needing to happen more on his half, because there's already been a compromise on your half, and you guys have made some updates.
Yeah.
It's gonna, I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
Like it worked. It was working. She allowed him to do what he needed to do. OP allowed him to do that. And when OP went to other country for the residency, I can kind of see, okay, they're not in the home.
Yeah.
But as soon as they come back, there has to be that snap back to it, because there is the medical and like physical well-being element there.
Yeah.
And also the emotional trauma of what it did from the past. Back in my country, some of my friends also smoked the devil's lettuce, but it was never a must. And I was always in the position where I could decide to stay or leave the room if I was not okay with the smoke.
That's good.
The reason why I mention this is because this gets to where moving to his country gets crucial. Because of my treatment, my sober time, and the different interests of his friends, all male, we haven't found a way for us to get along. I mean, we find them nice and funny, but I think in these 2 years, I've met them less than 10 times. Moving to another country is a lonely experience, and I wouldn't like him to feel lonely too because he can't meet his friends as much as he did in the past, before we got married. When he is high, he also gets a little bit anxious, or at least his anxiety gets more easily triggered, and he also turns a little bit slow and not very talkative. So even though it's funny to be around him during these goofy moments, sometimes I need or want to communicate with his regular, sober version. Despite we agreed our current financial situation is not loose enough to set a budget for his devil's lettuce every month, he's got it for free twice from his 2 friends who sell it. During my therapy sessions, I have understood how consent can help us with this. So we made an agreement where every time he wants to get high, I would be informed so we can make our plans without involving too much talking or making important plans for the weekend or something.
Okay, that's a little... I don't know how I feel about that part.
OP's giving, I think, too many concessions here.
Yeah, because, like, I don't know, if I'm like, if I want an energy drink, and usually I get a little bit more, like, uppity and all that stuff, I'm not going to hit up Angie, hey, I'm going to get a drink real quick. You know how many texts a day she'd get?
Too many.
Too many. But, I don't know, I feel like if you are someone that does this, you shouldn't have to text all the time for it. That makes sense. I mean, it does make sense of what they're trying to figure out, but I don't know.
I think in this instance, it's because of partially the medical issue and also like how he gets when he's not sober. So I think for them it is practical.
Practical, also
annoying as heck, but practical.
Yeah. I think like I'm glad you're coming at the issues now because later on this would become a big thing. But if you guys don't get on the same page soon, in the next 6 months to a year, this is going to be too big of a thing where, I don't know, you guys might have to break up. I think you're going to overcome it, but it seems like there's a lot of things you want to do on your end, and he's just kind of like, well...
Considering OP moved to a whole separate country for this relationship, I feel like there should be more consideration and concession.
Yeah. But I think, I don't know if he wants to do that. I think he just wants to smoke.
No, absolutely not. I don't think he's recognizing how impactful.
Yeah.
Because it's been his lifestyle.
Yeah, and if this is your lifestyle,
it's really hard.
I don't know. It's like you either stay together or you have to break it off if this is your lifestyle. Yeah.
Okay. With disagreements here and there, the agreement had been working until last night. He's having a deviation nasal septum surgery on Monday, and I shared with him I was a bit worried because of the past. I lost a lot of very close people in my family and friends. He's also nervous and scared. He decided to go out with one of his friends, and he got high. He said he only got 3 puffs, but he didn't know how devil's lettuce can affect the effects of anesthesia, and that he needs to inform his anesthesiologist about this. When I asked him to please not smoke this week before the surgery, he had already done it, so when he got home I asked if he did it, he immediately got anxious and defensive, arguing it was only 3 puffs, and that he was not clumsy, and I immediately got anxious and offensive, telling him how before he went out he told me, ironically during our conversation, oh, yeah, sure, because I can't meet my friends without doing... And he did it. How devil's lettuce can affect the surgery and how most of it's been exhausting to have these arguments about devil's lettuce so frequently.
At this point, I think a separation is called.
I've been feeling a pattern when we have a difficult conversation. We both can't sleep properly. The next day, I feel sad, and he comes back from his job with a sincere apology after thinking about what we did and said. This is a cycle of abuse. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But last night, he said something new. I would like to smoke freely without me thinking, will she be okay if I want to be spontaneous and smoke with my friends? Or maybe having a smoke after the day as a reward. And he mentioned this as a boundary he needs me to respect. I don't want to talk about it. Turned out to be very confusing for me because I need to talk about it to find consent in order for him to enjoy it while I can be away from the triggers towards my sobriety and or without me feeling like, oh, right now he's too high to talk about normally about any subject. At the end of our conversation, he asked me to sleep together in our bed after I asked him to please go to his parents' house. I'm embarrassed of this request of mine, to be honest. I asked him why, and he said, because we're each other's home. I said, I know I don't want to break your boundary because I feel you should not negotiate something that is very important for you. And I don't want to disrespect your independency and autonomy, but I can't change my past. I think the best is for me to step aside. It was around 2 a.m., so it was a tough, dark, and exhausting moment already because of that, plus everything that was said. While writing this, I can tell there are a lot of factors on the table, and just by putting it out of my chest with words for someone to read about this feels useful. So, if you read this, thank you. Anyway, has anyone had an experience where the devil's lettuce or any other habit has affected your relationship in a complicated way? How would you deal with this? I'm open for ideas. I would definitely talk about this with my therapist because I want to understand if there is something I can do better or improve our communication somehow. I feel like I'm being seen as a teacher or some kind of authority, and I don't like that role. I just want to be respectful and respect.
Separation. I think having a separated month or so, come back.
I don't like ultimatums in relationships. I've had people do it to me before, and for me, that's the breaking point. Like, I agree with discussion, but giving an ultimatum kind of feels like, in some instances, I can see, but I don't think it's warranted here. Like
not in this. No,
in my situation and in other situations that we talked about, like in this situation, not warranted at all. I think he's choosing the weed here, and he's asking her to go along with. He's not putting any consideration to her. He's not respecting her. He's not emotionally mature enough for a relationship.
He's not.
He wants to hang out with his buddies. He wants to just be a dude, be a guy, be a bro, be a party man. He doesn't want to be an adult. He doesn't want to take what OP has gone through into consideration. He's just accepting.
Yeah.
Since she's rolled over before, he's expecting her to roll over
And
again.
I think she's going to have to ask herself some bigger questions here. Yep. If she wants kids, do I want this guy to be my husband and my, my kid? Do I want my kids to be like him? Do I want my kids to be a mixed version of me and him? And is that even a thing? Could you have kids and they can both be you and him, or do they have to be just you or just him? And I think overall, over time, it just seems like it's not the best case for you, OP. And you know what you need to do? This is a hard thing. Whatever you think you need to do, that is the very hardest thing in your mind. That's what you have to do.
I feel like putting this out there on Reddit, you already know what you want to do.
Yeah.
You're looking for the permission to do it.
Yeah. And you're just getting affirmation of other people. Yeah.
Comments. Comment 1. Looks like he just doesn't want to stop. As a former heavy smoker, 2 to 3 times a day for years, I don't consider the devil's lettuce addictive like you can't stop. I would spend weeks without it because I forget to get more. Also, I have friends with the same habit that have just done detox breaks and stopped for weeks without hesitation. On the other hand, regular smokers don't even get that high. That's why they do regular detox breaks, because it's not even working. Is there a possibility he's just faking being extra high just to avoid some conversations?
Ooh. Interesting.
Regarding surgery, just disclose it to the doctor. It should be fine. And that is the end of that.
Whoa.
No resolution. Again, no comment. But
Dang.
I sincerely hope for OP's health and sanity and like social, just their sake overall, get out of that relationship. I know.
Get out. Yeah.
Like this person is their only lifeline in the country. And if you have to somehow go back to your home country, then that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
They mentioned that they like their job and they feel like their job is home. And at that point, you just need to kind of find a way to find more lifelines in a bigger social circle.
Agreed.
I refuse to invite my ex-husband's wife to our daughter's party because she said so.
Who said so?
I don't know. I, 32 female, have a daughter, 9 going on 10 female, with my ex-husband, 36 male. We divorced when she was 3. He then remarried one of his coworkers. Let's call her Mary. They also have a son together, 6 male. My daughter's birthday is in 9 days. I reviewed with my daughter things for her birthday, like the theme, the cake. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Keon.
And OP says, here's the issue. When we were going through the guest list, she looked anxious. When I asked what was wrong, she told me that she did not want to invite Mary. I asked her why, and she explained to me that Mary would make weird comments sometimes around other parents or to her. For example, when Mary would pick her up from dance lesson, she would hear Mary say things like, "That's why I prefer boys. Girls only like pink and tutus." She also told me that every time her brother, Mary, an ex-husband's kid, would do something to annoy her, like breaking her toys, calling her names, starting a fight, Mary would always defend her son and punish her every time and say, "Boys will be boys," or some crap like that. I asked about her dad, and she said that Mary does that even when her dad is around, but he's always in his office, so it's like a free pass. Later on, I called her father. He asked for the date of the party. Her real birthday is a school day. I told him that his wife was not invited. And I think I was on loudspeaker because I heard Mary screaming at me saying that I destroy her family. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my ex-husband's wife to my daughter's birthday party because she told me not to?
Nope. It's your daughter's birthday, and she gets to make the invite list, and she gets to be the most comfortable because it's her birthday party.
You're not invited to her birthday party.
This is the, like, that other movie that you're so not invited to my bar mitzvah.
Exactly. Okay, just for precision, my daughter's half-sibling is 4 years younger than her. She was born in April while he was born in March. The next year after the divorce, he just turned 6. But it is true that we divorced because my ex-husband told me he was in love with Mary and wanted to confess. We have 50-50 custody. He has a busy job. My daughter explained to me that she never told me or her dad that she was scared of ruining her father's marriage because he seems happy. And there is an update, folks. But what do you think OP should do?
Do not invite Mary.
Yeah, I
don't want to see Mary anywhere near that party.
Mary, you better not even come sniffing within 20 miles.
And if they can't show up without Mary, then none of them can come.
None of you
Listen,
can come.
If my future prince or princess asks me within the reasons of their birthday party and I can do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. If I can get my little princess a pony.
Like, I can't get you Mars, honey, but I can get you what you
Mars
want.
bar.
Yeah. I can get you, like, little toy planet. Yeah.
So a lot happened. First of all, I met my ex for lunch alone. I explained everything that my daughter told me. At first, he was defensive and told me that she was overreacting. I replied that even if it were true, his relationship with his daughter is at risk. I gave him a choice. Fix the problem or I go back to court for more custody. Friday, when I came to pick my daughter up at his house, I talked to her in private, and she told me that her dad spent time with her, picking her up from school, activities, helping her with homework, and playing with her. Mary then told me that she accepted not going to the party, but still wanted to see my daughter, blow out her candles on her actual birthday. She baked a cake and asked her, my daughter, if she was okay with doing it before leaving. She seemed okay with it. So we gathered around the cake, my daughter, Mary, ex, and half-brother. When my daughter blew out the candles, Mary Jr. decided that the good thing to do would be to smash my daughter's face into the cake.
Oh, no.
Wow. And no wonder you're not invited to the birthday party.
Yep.
I hope you took the candles out first, because it doesn't sound like you did.
Doesn't sound like it. To be honest, if this was not a kid, I would be in prison. He and Mary burst out laughing while my daughter was crying.
You ruined her
birthday.
birthday.
You literally ruined her birthday.
And I know this is like
monsters.
The shoving the face in the cake. I know it happens in like a lot of like South American cultures. A lot of like Mexican parties, they do that. Like you see videos of that.
But if that was standard for this family, I don't think she would have included this.
Yeah.
Mary then told her that she was being dramatic and emotional. We, Mary, ex, and I got into an argument, and to my surprise, my ex-husband was on my side.
Good. I would have picked that cake up and put it right back
I'd
in
be like,
Mary's
oh, you're being
face.
too emotional.
Oh,
Boom.
are you mad about it?
Saying that I was not okay. While arguing, I noticed that my daughter was not there, so I left to check on her. I helped her clean herself, and then we left for my house. I tried to cheer her up, but she was still a little sad. The party went well. Her dad came, and during the party, I told him that I want more custody because of his wife's bullying, and I'll update you if more happens. Precision 2. Some of you asked questions about my daughter's reaction. My daughter is a really shy and silent kid. Except for me and her dad, she does not talk unless spoken to or if you bring up a subject that she likes. When something upsets her, she just stays silent and cries. It's always been like that, and it is what she did. Started crying, went to her room. And there is an update. I really hope this is a huge wake-up call for her dad.
I hope so. I'm so glad that he was on OP's side.
Yeah,
that would have been telling.
It just seems like he was never around to see this bullying happening.
So I feel like that means, though, that you will be free to not have to worry about her coming to the birthday party, because he's now probably fully on your side for that.
Well, the birthday party already happened.
Oh, the party did too? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I missed. I was reversed in the timeline.
It just they went after this. So basically, they had made the plan to do the cake before the party, and then they went to the party.
Oh, when they said before the party, I thought they meant full other day.
Yeah, no. That's what it seems like.
Oh, she had to. I hope her
I know she had to
birthday
go
was
to
so
a party
good after this.
right after being.
No.
cake smashed into her face. Saw that many of you asked for an update. After the cake incident, I asked my daughter questions about whether Mary or her half-brother had ever laid hands on her, played such pranks on her, or behaved inappropriately. We never know. She told me no, explaining that the fights with her half-brother are mainly him annoying her. I also inquired if anyone else from either side of the family had made her uncomfortable in any way. And again, she said no. Since my last post, she has been seeing her psychiatrist twice a week. The bullying apparently started about 2 months ago. I don't know if it's related, although I'm sure it is, but it was also around the time that Mary had a miscarriage. To be honest, I feel like a terrible mom. I did not see the signs and I'm trying to fix everything. Last night, my ex-husband called me at around 10 p.m. from outside my house saying he wanted to talk. I let him in, and because I don't trust him, I really don't. I recorded the whole conversation with his consent. He told me that since the party, he's been thinking about what to do, and yesterday he told Mary about my desire for more custody. From what he said, she didn't think it was such a bad idea because my daughter wasn't fitting into their family dynamic.
Oh,
your face isn't fitting into my family dynamic. Get out of here, Mary.
Need some cake on it.
They started to argue, and at one point she began cursing me and my daughter. Apparently, I'm a sneaky B-word who is bitter about her affair with my ex-husband, and my daughter is a spoiled, bratty princess who needs correction.
Hilarious coming from you, Mary.
Yup. He told me that now he has to choose between which woman he loves the most. This is when he had the click moment. He left the house, drove around, and then showed up at my place. He has decided to stay at a friend's house while he thinks about his relationship with Mary. Our daughter will stay with me during the week and visit him on the weekends. I told him that if he is going to get back together with Mary, I will continue to pursue full custody. But if they divorce, it will depend on his custody arrangement with his son because I don't want him around my daughter. He agreed. And there is a third update. Earlier in the week, my ex-husband asked if he could come by, saying he had something important to tell me. He explained that last Friday, Mary Jr. got into trouble at school for cursing at a girl. Long story short, he had confessed his feelings to her, the niece of the school director, and she rejected him. Apparently, he then started shouting insults at her that no 6-year-old should know, let alone say.
Well, Mary, looks like you should parent your child.
Yeah. Because of this incident and our daughter's situation, he decided to divorce Mary. She will be served the divorce papers next week. He also plans to pay for Mary to attend therapy because he still wants to have a relationship with her son. We, meaning my ex-husband, our daughter, and I will also be attending family therapy together. My daughter is happier now, and that is the only thing that matters to me. For the summer, I plan to take her to Japan to see my side of the family. I am still pursuing full custody of my daughter with visitation for my ex-husband on the weekends. If and only if Mary Jr.'s behavior improves, I will allow him and my daughter to interact again. My ex-husband is also pursuing full custody of his son as he should. Nice. As he should, because clearly this son is not being, parented correctly by Mary because he should not be knowing these words.
And he should take no as an answer.
But I'm not going to take no as an answer because you should listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. You can't say no. I still do not trust my ex-husband, so I'm keeping my eyes on him and the way he will raise our daughter. I don't understand why people assume I'm going to be nice to him. Am I polite? Yeah. Nice? No. I am not pursuing more custody because he wants his son, but also because his recent promotion means he works more and does not have time to take care of our daughter during the weekdays. That responsibility falls to me. For some reason, someone asked about our races. I am Japanese, and as is my ex-husband, while Mary is white and French. Although I am Japanese, I was raised in France, so French is my first language, followed by Japanese and then English. And folks, that's the end of that story and the end of this episode. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.